Stream. Sorry. That's my take your tablets alarm. I was just getting a drink. Okay. So, it's Tuesday. I know this because I am looking at my phone and it says Tuesday. Because how else am I going to know what day it is? Because what is time, people? What is time? Also, hi, Mr. Corners. And thank you for the resub. Wow, 50 months? Blinking out. Yeah, that is a long time. Thank you so much for the support. I believe you were my very, very, very first sub. Or at least you were definitely in the top 10. But I think you were first sub. Either which way, I appreciate the support. I really do. Okay, so today I still didn't know what I was going to stream. Sorry I didn't stream on Sunday. I know I said I was, but I had a little bit of a meltdown. Because of the, well, you know, life. So we didn't stream. But I'm back today and I just went, okay, just pick something off the list of things off the list of games on the random to-do list. So we did. This one has 2 achievements on there, so it's like right in the middle, sort of a lowish ratio because it's a visual novel, or it's a visual novel collection. So, you know, I believe. Oops, I the wrong page now. It's gonna be something about learning secrets, or possibly an ending. Anyway, the point is that we're playing a game called Seduce Me, and I just had to laugh at the sort of ironic nature of the game today. Just because well, newly, it's been a couple of years now, sort of discovered as sort of a romantic, asexual person. To be fair, I do have a filthy mind, and, you know, not a prude. However, flirting was something that my mask did, because that was the socially acceptable thing to do. So, in the process of unmasking myself, I was like, oh, actually, you know, don't want to do that. Don't need to do that. Feel perfectly content living on my own. So yeah, anyway, all philosophical waxings aside, this is developed by Michaela Laws. Does that name sound familiar? Maybe I have just heard their name somewhere. They have done a few visual novels since 2015. They are a voice talent, a storyteller, a content creator, an English translation lyricist, a singer. Blimey. Multi-talented person. Multi-talented. Mixed race demi-woman. She pronouns in the bio. Okay. She is a multi-talented person. Multi-talented person. And alongside, obviously, all of those, a freelance indie game developer. So, yeah. Very, very, very talented individual. So, yeah. Anyway, getting distracted. I'm not going to scroll through her socials. But anyway, Seduce Me, the complete story, is a bundle that includes Seduce Me, the Otome, which is what we're playing today. That's what the game's set as. Otome. Okay, now I gotta look up how you say it. It's a maiden game. That's the. How do you say it? Pronunciation. Come on, give me one of them. Otome. 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 Okay. Right. Otome. Right. Don't pronounce it as if you were. Otome. 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 Anyway. Otome. Thanks, Jesse. I was just looking at various posts going, okay, it says met on the end. So met for me is a very short sound. And then I'm looking at the pronunciations going, oh, don't cut off the end like you do in English. And I'm like, oh, but, how do I say it then? So yeah, anyway, hi Leaky, hi Jesse. Thank you very much, Jesse. Otome. Anyway, I was reading a thing and I got distracted. So Seduce Me the Otome and Seduce Me to the Demon are dating sims with 30 mini episodes, both with audio, Otome, CDs as well, and a basic compendium for lore comprehension. Wow. We're only going to be doing a few hours of the first game today. As a, promo. It is an Ideate Xbox game. Thank you to Ideate Xbox. Unless it really, strokes our fancy. Pun partially intended. And we want to continue doing the story on stream. We'll just be doing one stream of it. So, yes, developed by Michaela Laws, published by Ratalaika Games, released on September 8th, 2023 on Xbox. And I believe it was released 2020 on Steam. So it is available on Steam for Linux, PC, and Mac. It's also available on PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. We are playing today on the PlayStation. No. Oh my god, my brain. I literally was looking at the word PlayStation as I switched tabs. No, we're playing on Xbox. Crying out loud. I'm gonna switch to the thing. We're on Xbox. See, look, Xbox. Gosh, my brain is still kind of baked. From the heat, not any kind of herbal thingamajiggy. Yeah, thanks to ID at Xbox. Thank you to ID at Xbox for the code for streaming this. So it is £9.99, $9.99, €9.99, and then other countries different amounts, but those are the ones that sort of vaguely match. So yes, okay. What other things do I usually say? Platform prices. Oh yeah, that are 43 achievements. I wish they were split, so you know which one was which. Sometimes they do a split. Between, like, these are game 1, these are game 2. Maybe I'll have a look into that and submit something. I was saying words. Oh yeah, 43 achievements. They're not split between... They are split between the two games, but they're not categorized as such on TA. All of them are obtainable. I'm going to ignore the completion estimate because it says half an hour to an hour, which means that, yes, there's a skip text. We are going to be reading the story. So, after inheriting your wealthy grandfather's estate, you arrive to see an incredible surprise. 5 injured, yet very handsome men appear on the lobby floor. They eventually awaken and make it known that they were attacked by a group of dangerous misfits and ran to find shelter, passing out as soon as they entered your home. This is sounding a little bit like that one where the men turned into animals. I believe that was called Animal Lover, or something similar. Or... did we have another one like this? I don't know. Anyway, you find out that they are incubi, demons. Out of sympathy, you offer your home as refuge for a while in exchange for minor servitude. I was coughing because I got a lump in my throat, not because I was thinking other things about minor servitude. It is a big house after all. They happily agree. What will happen as the incubi get comfy? Why exactly did they come to the human world? Are you sure you truly want them gone? It has voice acting. Oh, we might not be voicing. We may be narrating and filling in the gaps. It depends whether it is fully voiced or partially voiced. To be fair, the developer is also a voice actor, so, you know, it could be. So that's exactly the same on there. Seduce Me the Otome from 2015 is the first game in the series. I'm just gonna see if it tells you a little bit more. Nope, it just says a romantic comedy visual novel centered around a girl named Mika Anderson who gets entangled in the affairs of incubi. Cool. And then the sequel is Seduce Me 2, The Demon War. It's the sequel to the popular free-to-play Otome game. Follows the story of Mika Anderson as she's suddenly thrown into the abyssal plains. Ooh, I had that in my book that I was reading after work. It is a place in the underworld where souls are tortured. The abyssal plains. Right before she is about to be married to one of the 5 incubi brothers featured in the first game. Oh, spoilers! Oops. What's even worse is she's thrown there in the middle of a rebellion against the evil demon lord and must not only assist Diana and the rebel leaders in the war, but must watch the man she loves fight alongside them after he comes to rescue her. Okay, so minor spoilers. Probably shouldn't have read that one. I wonder if you can, like, pick which one you're going to seduce, or all of them, I don't know, and then bring that ending into the next one, and whoever you've chosen is your person in that game, and it would change. I don't know. Sometimes games let you do that. But yeah, so lots of missables, so many alternate endings, so why don't we just load up? Ouch. Ow. Sorry, I have to make all the noises. Okay, so all the transitions, scenes, background music down a little bit, voice acting, sound effects down a little bit, text speed down a little bit just in case it decides it's going to try and skip on me. Extras. Ooh, credits. Can't see what is selected. I went into the bloopers. Okay, right. Oh my god. Okay. Hi, Lady McGree. First comment. The extras menu, the one that is selected, has a glow around it, but it is incredibly hard to see and would be impossible for anyone with, worse sight than I have. And mine is annoying at the best of times. Like, right now, it is slightly blurry, which is always fun when you're about to start a game which involves lots of reading. Hopefully, it is large text. Anyway, so, just going through the creative team, and then the voice talents, main cast. Okay, Lola's plays Diana. I like that. Pickle 131. I mean, even minor characters are voiced. And maybe this is not a story time with Joe. Maybe this is just we get to experience the story and pick how it goes. I'm okay with that. I need to ease back into my storytelling, I think. There we go. Credits. Okay. Writer's note. Dear reader, thank you. Truly and honestly, thank you so much for supporting this individual novel by purchasing... We didn't. We got given a code. I'm playing it. Seduce Me is such an important series to me, and it could not have been created without the team, the cast, the supporters the game got, and from players like you. To put it simply, this game was my official gateway to telling stories. My father always inspired me to paint fantastical worlds in my mind, and one day use my skills to bring them to life. I admire that skill. After years of growing up and learning about the world, I was finally able to fulfill that dream and created this collection of games for everyone to see. My goals since then have always been to continue telling stories to anyone who would listen. Sometimes you'll love the stories I tell, and sometimes you'll absolutely despise them. My intent is just fuel the creative mind and hopefully inspire others to paint their own fantastical worlds to share with the world. To my family, my friends, and to everyone who's supported me thus far in my journey to continue telling my stories, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I hope to make you proud. Cool. And there's also some secrets. And a compendium. Oh, God. All right. Okay. So there's like a whole bit of lore. I'm not going to read the lore. That would just be too much. We're going to go into start. Ooh. Okay. So we've got... Oh, so Seduce Me, the episode series is actually something different? Or is that a different way of playing it? IGDB, please? Can you enlighten me? As soon as you have a list of all the games this person has made. Oh, a series of short bonus episodes in the Seduce Me visual novel setting. Okay. So, we've got the main game, the sequel, and then the bonuses of the first game. Sorry, not the main game. The first game, the sequel, and bonuses for the first game. Okay, well, we will start with the first game. This is, and also that text is a little, actually, it's fine. It's not going to start autoing on me, so that's great. This is a fictional, interactive narrative. Any character resemblances to real-life people are purely coincidental. Also, the following game is made for PG-16 audiences. Please know that sexual violent themes are explored in this game. Trigger warnings: abuse, implied rape, and suicide. You have been warned. I don't know how far we'll get as to what we will come across, but please keep those in mind and, you know, practice self-care, and if you need to leave, please do. I will not be offended. Please enjoy.
Why, hello. My, aren't you a gorgeous sight? Can I be honored enough to know your name?
Well, now, that is definitely a beginning for a game. Yes, kind sir. My name... We'll keep it as the default in case it's voiced. Or I would love to know how this is pronounced. So today we are being Mika.
A lovely name for a lovely person like you. Wonderful.
Okay, this person's voice is absolutely delightful. It's just like watching all those TikToks on BookTok, where they get guys with like delightfully deep voices to read lines from, you know, the fairy smart or the dragon smart. Mostly just smart.
Eric, do your job.
Very well. This game was produced by Seraphim Entertainment under the direction of Michaela Laws and is powered by Ren'Py Visual Novel Engine. We truly hope you'll enjoy this story. I know I'll enjoy it since you'll be in
it. I think we're going to enjoy this stream.
Eric.
Fine, fine. Farewell, my sweet.
Ren'Py is such a good engine. It doesn't port it doesn't like natively port to Xbox, so, or at least it didn't used to. I don't know whether that's changed. I like a good, you know, voice. What is love indeed? Meaningless. James. Eric. Sam. Oh, the names are behind me, but we did at least put the credits up before, so. Ah, it still does have credits there as well. But anyway, we put the voice actor credits up, so if I'm blocking part of the name. How will our story end? Well, I don't know. I doubt we'll get to an ending today, unless it's a 3-hour segment. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. Yes, I was listening to your clip. I was like, okay, Leaky's randomly sent me a clip of someone's stream, and then I was like, oh, and that's Leaky's voice. It was good. I think I need to press A to advance rather than it just staying on somewhere, but you know, it's just one of those days where literally anyone saying any phrase that is a song makes me want to sing the song, which was a slight problem when I was talking to a recruiter, and he said something about a company they're looking for. So, of course, looking for a man in finance. 6'5", blue eyes. Because that has been all over my TikTok. So, yeah. Yeah. Do I want to put it on auto? I don't want it to skip, but I think it should just continue if I don't have to read it.
Come on! Is that all you got?
Wanna try me, asshole? Crap! Missed.
Let's retreat for now.
No kidding. Let's get out of here.
That's right. You better run, you stupid
Blue
punks.
eyes.
Stay out of our
Not
territory.
short ass. 6'5" is definitely not a short ass. Call it fate or call it coincidence. That one moment of violence started a chain of events I will never forget.
This formula, created in the 70s, is one of the most important in the field of financial theory. It is used to calculate the price of European-style options and is widely used by option marketers, though there are some discrepancies that are now corrected with the modern viewpoint.
It's been a long time since we've gotten rain around here, but it is April, so it's not exactly that surprising. You're only an inch taller, Leaky. Only an inch taller. Also, it did rain today. It was weird. It's been very variable weather, but it's been cooler, which is good. We got down to 26. I can actually think. I actually managed to make a decision on game to stream and get stream set up rather than just sit on sofa staring at nothing. So, you know. Personally, I loved the sound of it, the way the raindrops fell, like the soft tapping of fingers. It was so soothing. Even looking at the droplets hit the glass of the window was strangely calming. For this reason, I felt lucky for having a seat next to the window. I spent more time staring outside than I did paying attention in class. The lectures in class were pretty boring. Mrs. Phillips's voice was passionate, but I just wasn't interested in what she was saying. And since it was the period right before lunch, all I could think about was doing other things. Honestly, I didn't really care much for economics. Sure, I had good grades in this class, but it was only because I read the textbook and did my assignments on time. I was only taking this class because it was mandatory. If it was up to me, I would have taken another course. Luckily, it was my senior year, so after this semester it would mean the end of high school courses forever. Thank God for that. I didn't hate high school. It was just mundane how the days drifted on as if there was no end to it. The only thing I really enjoyed about going to school was meeting my friends and hanging out with them. That was kind of it. In short, I was done with high school. The start of second semester brought a note of finality to it. I'd already applied to a few universities the semester prior, and I was expecting replies sometime in the next few months. It seemed like the start of something. Something that would change. I stared at the faint outline of raindrops in the distance, For now, I was stuck in this class.
Miss Anderson.
Mrs. Phillips' raised voice interrupted my train of thought. Just when I was thinking about class, I quickly turned my head to face the teacher. Hopefully she didn't just pick me because she noticed that I was spacing out.
Would you care to name the equation I set up on the blackboard?
Oh, I read about that in the textbook last night. It should be...
Very good as always, Miss Anderson.
I don't think the main character's voiced. I don't think... Because I've got 2 fans on and the thing down low. Is Mika, the me character, voiced? Hey, Dana Milo. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. It followed me wherever I went. Most people didn't really know me by my first name, but rather by my surname. I'm going to assume that the main character isn't voiced, and I will also voice the main character. No doubt, since the surname was the trademark of the internationally famous and philanthropic Anderson Family Toys. The founder's my grandfather. Suzu, one of my best friends, turned around and proudly gave me a punch to the shoulder.
Kick ass, girl.
From beside me, I heard Naomi, another one of my best friends, clearing her throat in obvious disapproval of Suzu's choice of words.
She means good job.
Miss Capini.
Oi!
Care to tell me who the creators of this formula were?
Some guys named Black and Shoals. Fisher Black and Myron Shoals.
Very good, Miss Patterson.
Show off. Better study next time, Suzu. Be like us and study once in a while.
Suzu rolled her eyes and slouched into a chair as Naomi gave her a small smirk. She always pouted when Naomi showed her up. How are you doing? How is everyone doing in chat? What's everyone doing? How is the week treating you all? We are playing Seduce Me, the Otome, which Jessie informed me is the correct way to pronounce this. Which is basically a dating sim with demons and some very sexy voiced men. It is mostly voiced aside from the narrator and the main character, which is me, basically. So we will be doing a little bit of voicing, but not all the voicing, which, to be fair, my throat is glad of.
That's the end of today's lecture. Now, let's separate into groups and work on your projects. Remember, everything is due on Monday. Go ahead now.
Before I knew it, Suzu and Naomi had scooted their desks to align with mine, and we turned into the Three Musketeers. Whenever the teacher let the students decide on groups, we all would group together in our little trio. It was a sheer stroke of luck that we all managed to be in the same class, so we had to at least take the opportunity and stick together as much as we could. Besides, we were most comfortable around each other than around any other classmate. It just made sense for us to put our heads together for any kind of project. Took out the poster we were working on and rolled it open onto the 3 desks. We were pretty much finished with fulfilling most of the guidelines for the project, though we did still have to add a few finishing touches here and there. After working on making the poster a bit prettier, we sat back and inspected our work to see what we still had to do. Naomi, as usual, was the first to look for any issues. She lightly tapped a pencil against her chin, staring intently at the project. You finished off, little kitty? Cool. I don't know whether I'm saving that for more on-stream, or just I haven't had a chance to get back into it. But I haven't played any more of that since I last streamed it. I also haven't played Alan Wake 2. I did enjoy Leaky streams. But I don't know whether I will get the game at any point. I got about 2/3 of the way through the first one and never finished it. Blame you, HH. But also it's you know, it's a 360 game now, so it's a bit dated. So, but cool.
Alright, so let's see. We finished the budgeting section, the building leasing, and the cost for labor. What else do we need?
Susie straightened up to look at the poster and stroked her chin. After a few seconds, her face brightened and she spoke up. You're loving the story. 13 years! I mean, that is impressive. I mean, you know, the amount of detail, but also game engines have changed so much in the last 13 years. I wonder how many engine upgrades they had to do to take advantage of new tech. Especially with the sort of slightly async nature of it. I'm still miffed. I missed the rock, the singing bit, the leaky stream, but you know. You should do the DLCs. Yeah. DLC.
How about a company name?
Huh? Did we really skip over that?
Of course we did. You always go straight into the logical statistics and stuff that you completely skip over the fact. We need a name for our project.
At least we caught it this time. What do we name it?
Not sure. What do you think?
It always came down to me. Whenever there was something to be named or titled, I was the master at ending decision. Even when I didn't want to be. We're going to call it Bob.
Trinity Corporations.
That is way too predictable. How about the Dragon Company?
What do dragons have to do with our project?
What? It's a totally unpredictable name. It's hot.
But our company sells bubble gum.
Who said we can't produce spicy bubble gum?
What do you think?
Yeah. What do you think?
Both of them looked at me expectantly, even though I wasn't quite sure myself. I didn't really want to choose sides, but if it were up to me, I would say Bob. I'm gonna go with Dragon Company.
Booyah! Dragon Company it is!
Alright, now that we've decided on a name, now what?
As we ended our name game, a giggle scrambled my thoughts. Huh? Who was that?
Ignore it. It's just Lisette.
I looked over my shoulder to see Lisette laughing with a circle of friends, mostly comprised of popular people. As a result, everyone in the school knew them. In the centre of it all was Lisette White. She sat with a posture that indicated she was still working, but ready to casually chat about her day. She was an endearing balance of charismatic and awkward, which was readily apparent when she first talked to somebody. It was easy to make her smile and laugh, and she was quite the comedian as well. Basically, she was perfect. Not that she was like a robot or anything, but she was the student that everyone else wanted to be. Lisette was bright, easygoing, and above all, had her future laid out right in front of her. Unlike the average student, she knew what she wanted to do after high school. As a result, she was confident and ambitious, though sometimes it could rub a lot of people the wrong way. Moreover, I'd known her ever since I was young, but it ultimately resulted in a rivalry that continued today. Of course, my friends knew what it was between us, and upon seeing me glance at her, they shifted their attention to her.
She doesn't even look like she's working, in my opinion.
She probably is, but she's too much of a stuck-up priss to allow herself to look like she's actually doing work.
Oh, come on, Suzu. She may be a little off-putting, but she's not the giant priss that you're making her seem to be.
The day she isn't a priss is the day I turn into you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Never mind. It's about time. Let's bail.
Surprisingly, Suzu was the first out of the classroom, slinging her backpack over her shoulder with ease as she quickly strolled out the door.
Her seat isn't even closest to the exit, and she always manages to be the first one out of the door. I don't think I'll ever understand that.
Both Naomi. She gave me a smile as if relieved by the fact that I felt the same way she did.
See? can't she just be normal like the two of us?
It's to be normal. It's Suzunomi. Think about
Very
it.
true.
Who wants to be normal? I'm
You
certainly
guys
not
are
normal.
slow. Are you coming or what?
We heard you the first time. Not everyone has rocket boosters attached to their legs when the bell rings.
Are you kidding me? That class was ridiculously boring. Even Miss Valedictorian here was dozing off a bit.
Ha! I do have to admit I was spacing out. And just because I answered one question doesn't mean I'm automatically the valedictorian.
Okay, so it wasn't too interesting. But you should at least pay attention when Phillips is talking about the important parts.
So you finally admit it. We're finally on the same wavelength. Welcome to the club, Patterson.
Please, don't call me by my last name. This isn't the classroom. And never in a million years will we ever see things eye to eye.
Despite this, they both burst out into laughter. Normally anyone would think that two people so opposite. Okay, so the usual, I need just like a disclaimer button. Disclaimer! The yawning is not the game's fault. I'm enjoying the game. The yawning is because I'm just perpetually tired. I do apologise. Would never associate with each other. However, even though they were so different, their friendship somehow made a lot of sense. Maybe they were just perfect complements, or personality didn't dictate the possibility. I mean, I do have you on command, but I just need a disclaimer that I can just pop up over the bottom of the screen. Then I don't have to say it. Yeah. But yes. 6,894. I think someone's at the counter on that one, but to be fair, it is probably fairly accurate. After, what are we, 7 and a bit years of streaming? Average of 2, 3 streams a week, 52 weeks. It's like 160-ish streams times 7. 70 plus 20 plus 42, 116. No, 1,160. That only happened once officially, and a couple of times I've dozed off. And to be fair, a couple of times we're during Extra Life, which is a 24-hour stream. Where do we get to? 1,000, and then like 6+ times a stream. Yeah, I'd say that is a fair, accurate representation of the number of times that I've yawned on stream. No, I don't think we're passing out and having a nap on stream for half an hour ever again. And it's just kind of ironic that I thought I would do that with my new tablets, but I didn't. Anyway. Sorry. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Maybe they were just perfect complements, or personality didn't dictate the possibility of their friendship. After all, we three had been best friends since preschool.
Alright, so where are we heading to first? Cafeteria? I think we can all agree that we're really hungry, especially after hearing about our company's line of deliciously spicy bubblegum.
Who would even buy that? I wonder.
Me? I would pay good money to get a taste of it.
Yeah, you do like spicy food after all. We entered the cafeteria, a bustling room filled with the aromas of different kinds of food. As we got in line, we ordered our meals and chatted freely.
Cajun fries and the spicy chicken burger for me. That's my definition of a good meal.
I'll take a tuna sandwich and some juice. You're probably going to need water or something to curb all that spicy flavor, Suzu.
I can't be tamed by the likes of that. If it's spicy, then it's gotta be all or nothing.
You're crazy!
Hell yeah, I'm crazy.
I think I'm getting a migraine.
I think I'll go with mac and cheese and a soda. Obviously, I literally had that for dinner. Well, I didn't have the soda. I have juice. But but that is not an option. That sounds good. Once we got our food, we settled down at one of the empty tables, putting our backpacks aside to finally dig in. Susie leaned back in her chair, tilting it back so she could rest her feet on the table by her food.
Alright then, is there anything we want to talk about?
Bored already?
I know, let's talk about...
Say boys, and I will never speak to you ever again.
I was gonna say boys.
What's so interesting about talking about guys? It's not like any of us are gonna get boyfriends anytime soon.
We don't know that. What if one of us does get a boyfriend?
Date all 5 of them
Like
at the same
that's going
time.
to happen, Naomi. Look at us. I'm a tiny Italian. You're a ditzy blonde.
Hey!
No offense. And Anderson here. Well, I guess she could land a boyfriend or girlfriend if she wants.
Or girlfriend?
She can be a lesbian if she wants.
True.
It's okay, Suzu. I'm not sure I want a boyfriend yet.
Why not? It's our senior year. Might as well get a boyfriend.
Maybe she's just not interested in a relationship, Suzu.
Well, really wasn't about wanting a relationship, but more there was no one I was interested in having a relationship with. Don't get me wrong, I'm a very open person, but there were not many interesting guys in the school. Who knows? Time will tell. Naomi looked to me, wanting to continue the conversation. However, before she could speak, the speakers in the cafe started up, and an announcement echoed throughout the cafeteria.
Miss Anderson, please come to the main office immediately. Please bring your things with you.
Oh,
Oh
no.
my.
Looks like our plans have been cut short. The men in white coats have finally come to get you.
Suzu, don't joke around. What if it's serious?
Well, I think my
That's
grandpa just
fine.
died in
Something
this
happens,
game,
just
so,
call us.
you know, that is bad. In real life, no, we're still... Yeah, hang on. Back.
Suzu, don't joke around. What if it's serious?
Fine. If something happens, just call us.
So, yeah, I just want to put it out to the universe that Joe's grandpa should be fine for many, many more years. But Mika's grandpa in the game, I believe he died. Because we inherit the house. It's the whole frame of the story. But yes, no killing my actual grandpa universe. That would be great. Thank you. Something did happen, and it was certainly no laughing matter. Cold. It was really cold. The rain became heavier that afternoon, accompanied by rolling thunder. The skies had turned dark, though I couldn't see any of it under the black umbrella. I stared at the grass beneath my feet, unable to look up at the people weeping around me. All I could see was the damp grass underneath my feet. Only the monotone eulogies that floated through my ears reminded me that I was at a funeral. It was only when the speeches ended that I was finally able to raise my head. A small gathering of people, mostly made of relatives that I didn't even know, were huddled around a small and simple grave. Harold Anderson, forever in our hearts. For a while, all I heard was the sound of raindrops on umbrellas. If it were not for the rain, everything would be in a heavy silence. I looked beside me where my father was standing and holding up a large black umbrella for our small family of 3. His face was emotionless, a strange sight next to my weeping mother. I wondered what was going through his mind. After all, etched in the smooth grey tombstone before us was his father's name. My grandfather, the one who raised me like his own daughter, had passed away that day. Slowly, people began to leave, until it was just my father, mother, and myself at the grave. A man dressed in a clean black suit under the uniform black umbrella of the funeral attendees walked towards us, introducing himself as grandfather's lawyer. He pulled out a few documents from his suitcase and began to read aloud.
And now, I shall read Harold Anderson's last will and testament.
Only my parents and I were allowed to be present for my grandfather's will. It was under the strict request of his lawyer, and there was a reason why.
And to my dearest granddaughter, I give my estate. All the furniture and decor that resides within the house shall also be given to my granddaughter.
What? I couldn't believe my ears. I'd earned the family estate at 18, That was impossible, and yet it was written by my grandfather's own hand.
He passed the family estate to her? Why
Mr.
am I not
Anderson.
surprised?
Dear.
Well, did he say anything about what will become of the CEO and chairman position of the Anderson Toys Company?
No. It is presumed that the vice chairman will succeed the position.
Even to the bitter end, he wouldn't give in. What a stubborn old man.
Shaking his head, my father turned to face my mother with a serious expression on his face.
About the estate. Should we send her there to get used to the building? It'll be a good place for her to live after high school.
Are you sure we should?
Why not? This would be a good experience for her.
Honey, what do you think?
I really wasn't sure what to say. What did my grandfather think that I was the... Why did my grandfather think that I was the appropriate heir to the mansion? Was I even ready to live on my own?
Well, that seems to be it. We'll be taking our leave now. I'm sure the little heiress needs some time to adjust.
David!
He's very bitter. Even though she raised her voice, my dad wordlessly began walking back to the car, disinterested.
Don't mind him, honey. I think that your grandfather's passing really affected him. Why don't we get back home for now?
You can go on ahead to the car, Mum. I think I need some time alone with Grandpa.
Oh, of course. Take all the time you need.
She gave me a quick hug and hurried after my dad. I looked around the funeral grounds, which was completely empty save for the sullen-looking grave that lay in front of me. I'm sure that if Grandpa were in charge of arranging all of this, it would have been much different. It was blatantly obvious that my dad was in charge of the whole event. Who else would bury their own family the same day they pass away? Everyone knew my grandfather's love for toys, and yet the grave was a mere stone slab on the ground, void of any warmth. My dad didn't even bother putting flowers. His disdain for my grandfather was almost pitiful. Sorry, Grandpa. I tried to force out some words, but the only thing that came out was a choked sob. You told me to stay strong, but right now I'm the furthest from it. I just want to go back to before. Grandpa!
Oh, it's so good to see you again, sweetie.
I swept into a giant bear hug, and then we both laughed as he swung me around like an aeroplane. It was one of my favourite things about seeing my grandfather, the way he greeted me. Unlike my father, my grandfather was loving and playful, even as I grew older. Sorry that Daddy couldn't be here today. He said he wasn't feeling too good again. It was always like that. Dad missed every visit to Grandpa's house, citing that he was busy with work or wasn't feeling well.
Is that so? Well, that's okay. Daddy can come around next time. And you're here, right?
Yeah. So what are we doing today, Grandpa? Mummy says there's a new dessert cafe open in town. Maybe we could go.
Oh, I would love to. But I've been so busy with the company these days. We're actually working on a little something. Would you like to see?
Yeah, yes. Is that a toy?
It is. I was designing a new line of them. But I feel like something's missing. You don't think you could help me out, could you?
He placed the toy in my hands with a smile, and I inspected it carefully. It was beautifully crafted, and obviously a lot of work was put into it. There was one thing, though.
So, what do you think?
I think the heart on its chest should light up when you hug it. It'd be like it's alive, and then it can be like a little nightlight before you sleep. He stroked his chin, considering my input while nodding his head. After a few moments of silent deliberation, he turned to me with a chuckle.
That's a great idea. I'll get to changing it right away. You're always like my little lucky
sweet.
charm, dear. You always know what to add to make the perfect toy.
Ha! Well, I hope I can be like you one day, Grandpa.
You want to make toys as well?
Making people happy is the best feeling in the world. I don't know if I want to make toys when I grow up, though.
Don't worry too much about it. You have plenty of time to decide. Besides, you should do what makes you happy as well.
Makes sense. Daddy doesn't think of it the same way, though.
Your father. I'm sure he just wants the best for you.
So sure about that.
Sweetie, look at me.
He bent down to look at me eye level with a serious look on his face.
As much as your father may say something that doesn't make sense now, you must remember that he's always thinking about you. He loves you. There's no doubt about that. And you need to love him just as equally.
I don't hate Daddy. I really do love him. I don't know why he's like this, though.
Your father and I have had some difficulties with each other in the past. But it's nothing that you should be concerned about.
I'd heard tidbits of this from my mother and various other people. Only people who would stay quiet were my father and my grandfather. Both of them refrained from saying a word on the subject matter, but it was clear that whatever happened set up a wall between them. It's hard, though. Trying to pretend is nothing wrong.
However, no matter what, you have to stay strong. You're a big girl already, and, well, there'll come a day when it seems like it's you against the world. But always remember that your family and friends will be here with you. Daddy, Mommy, your friends at school, me. We'll stand together to get through it.
Can you be sure of that?
Because we'll be right here and here.
He pointed his finger to my head first, and then pointed at my chest.
So stay strong. Promise?
For a moment he looked almost sad, pleading. But as quickly as it had come, the expression disappeared from his face, and he was all smiles once again. Promise! Upon hearing that, Grandpa let out a great burst of laughter and stood up.
All right then. Enough of that. How about I whip up some special homemade dessert? I know I can't accompany you at that new cafe, but we sure can talk and eat while I cook and do some paperwork.
Homemade dessert? I race it to the kitchen.
Hey, slow down there. I'm not what I used to be.
You willed me the very home I love to see you in. Why? Why would you think I'd be ready to take it? Especially after this. A surge of anger bubbled within me, but I quickly swallowed it. There was no use in getting mad, especially when the person in question was no longer there. I'm sorry. It's hard to stay calm when you've left me with so many questions, especially about what happened between you and Dad. What am I doing, talking to a grave? My vision blurred, and I suddenly realized that I was crying. My face heated up as tears rolled down my cheeks. I'll bring you some flowers later. I miss you, Grandpa. I'll try my best to fulfill my promise I gave to you. Even if the world might be turned against me. I left the grave, wiping my tears hastily so my parents wouldn't see.
Well, it's time to head back home. I'll cook up your favorite lasagna when we get home, okay?
Thanks, Mum. However, my dad didn't speak the entire drive home. I wanted to talk to him, but after his moment at the funeral, I wasn't sure if that was a good idea.
It's about time we took off those dreary black clothes.
Gathering my courage, I decided that it was time to talk. Dad, could I ask you something?
Go ahead.
Why do you want me to move into the estate so soon?
I thought I made that rather clear. The college near your grandfather's house is well known for its business program. You are planning to major in business, yes? Right after you graduate from high school, you'll just live there and can easily commute to and from school. It's a perfect fit for you.
But it's so sudden. You just decided so quickly right after the funeral.
Don't be so sensitive. If you're like that in the real world, you'll be crushed.
I don't like him. I'm just saying that maybe we could talk a bit more about my future. In reply, my father rubbed his temples and sighed quietly.
After you graduate from college, you'll work at Anderson Family Toys. I have connections since I am part of the board of directors, so you will be guaranteed a spot. That is what we talked about before, yes?
But what if...
Stop mumbling!
But what if I don't want to work there?
Don't be silly. It's the family company. Our company. I'm not just going to hand it over to some incompetent vice chairman.
He came closer to me and his face softened.
Look, this is all for the best, okay? You may not know it right
now. How does this fit in with
but you
Incubi?
Will appreciate it later.
For some reason, when I heard him say that, something snapped in me. I wasn't exactly sure what it was, but it made me feel angry. Do you even care that Grandfather passed away?
Of course I do.
Everything seems fine and dandy to you. Things couldn't be better.
Excuse me? I don't like your tone, young lady.
It's like nothing ever happened at all. Like you just ignored the fact that he's no longer here.
Do not raise your voice at me.
I didn't. You're not feeling very seduced. No, we've not got to the seduction part yet. Hopefully we'll get past the family drama into seduction very soon. What did he ever do to you to deserve this? My father, his face hardened, crossed his arms, and erupted in angry laughter.
You sure place him upon a pedestal, like he's some kind of venerated god or something. It makes me sick.
Is that it? Are you happy seeing grandfather dead? While everyone was grieving, were you holding yourself back from laughing in everyone's faces? Did you feel just a bit happier seeing him lie in the graveyard? A flash of rage crossed his face, and he whipped the back of his hand across my cheek.
You don't know anything! Running your mouth like somehow you know everything that went on, when you're just a little girl that doesn't know how to keep her mouth shut!
It's a good thing I'm in a vaguely good place, otherwise this could be mildly triggering. Hi, Hivo. Yeah, it's just a little bit of parental abuse going on here. He didn't need to hit me. That wasn't part of what was going on.
You did not know my father. You did not know what he was capable of. ...
Is everything all right? What happened?
Nothing. I'm not hungry. I think I'll just go to my room.
Honey, wait!
I quickly turned and ran up the stairs to my room, slamming the door behind me. My breath came in short pants, and for a while I just leant against the door to my bedroom, eventually sliding down to sit against it. Oh, yeah. He can't say that I don't know anything when he hasn't told me. And I'm literally asking what happened. I mean, you know, cycles of abuse continue. So, you know, it's possible that something happened there. Or it could be something to do with the demons. I mean, you know, we get there and apparently there's like 5 dudes just unconscious on the floor. So, you know, at this point, Toy Factory, incubi. How does that fit? And I'm thinking toy as in like teddy bears and trains, not vibrators. How did things become like this? My cheek still throbbed, and I tentatively stood up and looked at the mirror to see how it looked. Hopefully it doesn't bruise. What am I saying? Tears formed in the corner of my eyes, but I blinked them back rapidly. I couldn't cry twice on the same day. I had to be stronger than that.
Are you all right? Your father told me nothing happened, but you know your father.
I'm fine. I just lost my appetite.
The lasagna's done, though. And I don't want you skipping any meals. Are you sure?
Yeah, don't worry about me, Mum. I'll come downstairs later to eat.
You're not telling me the whole story.
I don't owe you anything. I just don't want to eat right now.
Please, dear. Tell me what's going on. I wish you would tell me why you're being like this.
It's always the phrase, isn't it? Why are you being like this? Anyway, we won't dwell. I wanted to tell her. Part of me was screaming to tell her what Dad had done. She knows. At the same time, I knew she couldn't fix anything. Besides, I was moving out regardless. I remained silent, letting the event remain in the past.
Well,
Easier said than done.
I'll leave your food on the table if you want to eat it later.
Yeah, congealed lasagna. That sounds amazing. Put it in the fridge and I'll heat it up. That'll be better. Finally, my mum left me alone. It was strange to think that she was only inches away from me, only separated by a single wooden door. I really didn't know what to do. I needed to do something, anything, to get my mind off what just happened. Anything would be better than thinking any more about the pain still radiating from my cheek. I was going to move into my grandfather's house tomorrow. I should probably pack my stuff so I'd be prepared. Yeah, that was a good idea. I should start packing. I opened the closet, rummaging around for a while before I finally found 2 large bags. Pulling them out onto the floor of my room, I then began to empty my drawers and cabinets so I could bring all of my things with me. I didn't have much to bring, other than some clothes and toiletries. Kind of bizarre that I didn't have many personal belongings. It Wasn't like my luggage was completely devoid of them, but I certainly didn't have many things in my room that I would miss if I just suddenly left the house. I shook my head to rid myself of those thoughts. It was going to be my new home. I would have to feel like it. It would have to feel like it. One way or another, I was going to make it into a home. Just as I was packing things, my cell phone began ringing and vibrating in my pocket. I slid my phone out of my pocket and answered it while settling on myself in my bed. Who could possibly be calling?
Hey, Anderson, you there? Is everything alright? We were worried about you, so we decided to call.
Oh, you guys.
Hello?
I'm really glad you guys called. My voice managed to come out, though it was only a whisper.
What happened? Are you okay?
Well, I slowly began to tell them about the funeral that afternoon. Small silence followed when I was done recounting what happened, and to my relief, Naomi finally spoke up.
I can't begin to imagine how you must be feeling right now. I'm so sorry. Do you want us to come over right now?
No, it's okay. My dad is in a good mood, so can we just keep talking on the phone like this?
Of course! We'd stay on the phone until the crack of dawn, right, Suzu?
Yeah, we're always here if you need us. After all, we wouldn't be the awesome triple threat trio without you, right?
Yeah.
Triple threat trio? That sounds like the name of a gang.
Sounds like a chocolate bar.
I mean, we're all taking on the world together. We've got to sound somewhat scary, or else no one's going to take us seriously.
What's with you and naming things?
You've got to step up your game, Naomi. Falling behind to the cool kids like Anderson and me. Tisk tisk.
Hey! I'm a cool kid! If anything, I'd say you'd have to step up your game!
She chatted cheerfully about all sorts of things. Very soon I'd forgotten about the events that day and was engaged in a conversation about Naomi's favourite TV show, some program called Thurlock. We all agreed that the actor playing the titular character, oh, I love this game, it has titular in it, certainly had a very distinctive look about him with that long overcoat and scarf wrapped around his neck. We had many disagreements about who we thought was the coolest character. Yeah, he has really high cheekbones and his eyes are pretty, though I do have to say I prefer Jackson. As a bonus, his actor is just so sassy. I looked at the clock hanging on the wall and realised how late it was. Whoa, it's 1 a.m. already. Sorry for keeping you guys up so late. I think I'm going to hit the hay for tonight. See you guys at school tomorrow. I should probably shower and go to bed. I can't believe I stayed up this late just to talk to my friends. We needed it. But it was really nice. Well, to the bathroom I go. Took a relaxing shower. Nothing beats hot water and the feeling of being clean. After drying myself, I promptly dressed in my pajamas and crawled into bed. Nice hot shower after a long day. I'm so glad to finally be in bed. It had been a really long day. I knew that I was wishing for something to change back in class, but I certainly wasn't expecting any of the things that happened today. And I have to go back to school tomorrow. I curled up on my side and tightly wrapped the blankets around me. I really wasn't in the mood to be returning to school, but my dad would probably make me go just for the sake of it. It's time to go to sleep. I reached out to the lamp on my nightstand to turn off the lights. However, my mind was so lost in the passing of my grandfather and the thought of inheriting something so big that it haunted my mind the entire night until the next morning. I shook my head to clear the sleepiness out of me to no avail. I really didn't get any sleep last night. It's already time to wake up. Wait, school! As soon as I realised I had to go to school, I slid out of bed and looked at the vanity mirror. That's a relief. Luckily, there was barely a bruise on my cheek. You had to squint to actually see it. I doubted anyone would actually notice unless they leaned in real close. Breathing out a sigh, I got dressed, took my backpack, and caught the bus to go to school. It wasn't even hours before everyone heard the news. I was approached at school and given condolences for my loss. However, that wasn't what shocked my friends.
Wait, so you have the whole Anderson house to yourself? Lucky as hell, man!
Quit being so sensitive, Naomi. Quit being so vulgar, Suzu.
I'm gonna go with Holy Hell.
Of course you would side with her.
Ha! See? At least she knows how to have fun.
I know how to have fun. You don't need to be wild to have fun.
True. Guys, I'm going there after school today because my parents want me to get used to living there.
Seriously? It hasn't even been a day since you came back to school.
I know, but my parents want me to try living there as soon as possible.
Still, that's really fast. Are you going to be okay?
Of course. But even in the comfort of my best friends, life seemed to keep testing me. Oof.
Hey! Don't go around shoving people like that.
Whoops. Did I strike a nerve, Capini?
She let out a small laugh as she twirled her hair around her finger. Lizette, one of the last people I wanted to see today.
It's not me you should be apologizing to.
Oh, Anderson. Hey, how's it going?
Alright.
Haven't you already heard, Lizette?
Of what?
Her grandfather's passing.
Well, I'm sorry about that. I don't really watch a lot of news.
It doesn't really sound like you mean it.
I do mean it. Earnestly. Why wouldn't I?
Typical Capini. Isn't her family involved with the mafia or something? I wouldn't be surprised if she brought out a bat from behind her back right this moment.
I'd nearly forgotten the crowd that followed Lizette, which was mostly comprised of people that no one wanted to see on a typical school day. No one had the slightest idea why exactly they followed Lizette around so persistently. They labelled themselves as social equals with her.
That is out of line. Suzu comes from an honest family.
Says the one whose family profits from political scandals.
Yeah, your dad doesn't make anything unless he's in the court with dirty politicians.
Hey, let's all calm down for a second, alright? I'm sure Anderson needs some time to recuperate. I mean, what just happened? We need to give her some respect.
Just stop. Stop acting like that already, like you feel sorry for me.
What are you talking about?
I'm sure you're happy seeing me like this. You already have everything you've wanted, and now seeing me like this, life couldn't get any better. Bitterness seeped into me and words started flying out my mouth without filter. But honestly, I didn't care. I was so consumed by anger that I only saw Lizette in front of me. What exactly am I to you? Just another part of your obstacle course? Is that what I am? I'm sick of it, Lizette. I'm sick of all these charades. I'm sick of you. Gasps rose from the crowd around her, and I was brought back to the school hallway. Even my friends beside me looked at me in surprise. One girl looked like she was about to speak up, but Lizette held her hand up to stop her. There was an emotion in her face that I couldn't quite make out, but I could see a form of pity in her eyes. No, don't you dare pity me. I looked away from her. I didn't want to see that emotion in her eyes when she was talking to me. She didn't have the right to look at me that way.
I'm sorry. I know your grandfather passing away must have really taken a toll on your emotions.
She stepped towards me and put her hand on my shoulder, giving me a tiny smile, as if for old time's sake. For some reason, I didn't feel comforted at all. Not that I was just angry at her, but the expression on her face when she leaned in close to me contorted into something complex. Something was different about her. I couldn't quite place my finger on it, but something about her had definitely changed.
I'll be going for now. Track meet responsibilities and all of that stuff. See you later.
Something about Lizette made me feel uncomfortable. I wasn't just angry, but also uneasy. Lizette, I'd never seen her like that before. But I decided to pay no further attention to it. She continued running down the hallway with her gaggle of friends behind her. I refocused my attention to Mrs. Phillips, who was walking down the hall towards me.
Is everything all right, girls?
Nothing we couldn't handle, Mrs. P. Just a bunch of snobs.
Suzu, hush! It was nothing, Mrs. Phillips.
I see. Well, Miss Anderson, please accept my condolences for your loss.
Thank you, Mrs. Phillips.
Your grandfather was a good man. He really upheld the philanthropy of his company's policies, and the money that went towards charity, too.
I know, he was amazing. I really looked up to him, and I want to be as good as he was.
Well, I know that you'll be as great as your grandfather.
Hell yeah, she will. She'll be 10 times better than her grandfather.
Would I? Would I really be better than my grandfather? Everyone seemed to have high expectations for me. I wanted to do my best and make my family proud, but to be better than my grandfather? I wasn't sure about that. From outside the school window, I saw a familiar blue car pull up to the curb. Undoubtedly, it was my father in the driver's seat. Oh, my ride's here. Well, I guess I'll see you both
Want
tomorrow.
us to come with you?
Oh no, it's okay. I'll be fine. See you. Hey, Dad.
Hey, honey.
As I got into the car, I noticed my father looked troubled, clutching at his steering wheel and staring straight ahead as if something was really bothering him.
About what happened yesterday. I'm sorry for yelling at you. Does your cheek still hurt?
No, it's nothing to worry about.
I mean it. I shouldn't have laid a finger on you. You know that you're my most precious daughter. You're all that I have.
Yet he couldn't bring himself to say what he could never say to me for such a long time. I always wanted to hear those words to affirm how he really felt, but I guess even now he couldn't say it to me. I turned my head away to look out the window. There was no point in waiting for something that was never going to come. And like that, he began to drive, and the conversation between us ended. I decided to focus my attention on the passing scenery. We were taking the usual route to Grandfather's house. It was located within the vicinity of the school district, but it was still pretty far from the school and from where our house was. He'd always lived alone. He insisted on doing things by himself, even at his age, living in such a large house. I wondered, did he pass away with no one at his side as well? It sounded so lonely and sad. It was strange that he decided on living all alone in his large estate. If anything, he could have lived with us. Though he and my father probably would have given each other the silent treatment the entire time, maybe living alone was preferable to that. I hadn't actually visited him for quite a while. Visits to his house were most frequent when I was a kid, and I'd long grown up since then. The last time I visited, though, he looked just as he usually was, happy and healthy. But things change. In the back of my mind, I knew that he would have to leave one day. It wasn't like humans could live forever, so why did my heart still feel so heavy? The car ride was mostly spent in silence until he spoke up again.
Maintaining your grades, I hope.
Yeah, I've been trying my best as of so far.
Trying? That's not really doing the best you can, is it?
Oh, shut up. With my father, only some words I said were filtered through his ears. It was difficult to keep up a conversation without eventually talking about academics or my future, even if it was something loosely based on it. I always found a way to integrate it whenever we talked.
Your belongings are in the trunk. There isn't a lot, so I'm sure you can manage bringing them inside the house. After all, you are on the road to being independent now.
Yes, I can manage on my own. The silence resumed between us. I wasn't sure what to say around him, especially when most of the time we didn't hold the same opinions. One question did linger in my mind, though. If he was going to justify acting so nonchalant at Grandfather's funeral, I had the right to at least know why. Of course, is there going to be staff in this house? Or, because it sounds like it's quite a big house, Is someone keeping it clean? Is there a cleaning service? Is there a cook? Is there a butler? Because then he wasn't really alone. But also, yeah. I'm going to try again. Sorry, say Dad, about you and Grandpa.
We are not talking about this.
I feel like we should. Because Grandpa did leave us yesterday.
I wouldn't care if he had left even long before that. I do not want to hear it, and that is the end of this conversation.
Screw you. As always, he managed to shut down any other form of conversation related to him. It was just like what happened last night. I opened my mouth slightly, but I closed it again. It was like talking to a brick wall. It wasn't like I could find out anything by somehow arguing my way through it. All right, then. I leaned against the car door and stared out the window. I really couldn't think. What would this place be like? I'd been to my grandfather's house often, but it was one thing visiting, and it was another thing actually living there. Doing my own butling. But what happens if I'm on the loo in, the West Wing and the doorbell goes? How would I manage living on my own without any training to be a homeowner? I knew naturally the bills would be paid by my parents, who inherited grandfather's stocks of the corporation, but I'd never lived independently before. Thinking about it made me feel like some sort of bird being pushed out of the nest. Though technically as an adult, I felt unprepared and a bit daunted at the prospect of actually moving into a new place. Most people my age would be ecstatic moving out. After all, it would symbolize some sort of change in their lives, like being on the road to independence, but I felt like it was nothing to the sort. I really hoped I wouldn't let my parents down. I wouldn't want to let grandfather down. What would he be saying right now? I gazed up at the passing clouds in the sky. If you're out there, grandfather, how would you be doing? Would there be anything you want to tell me at this moment? It was going a little bit too fast there. Maybe I need to slow down the text speed. Give me a little bit of extra time. And of course, no answer. What was I doing? Searching for an answer in a heaven that would or would not exist. I ducked my head to stare at the blur of trees and cars from the car window. My head was definitely going into the clouds there at that moment. Either way, I found myself being driven off to my new home. Wow. The car rolled to a stop and I drifted out of my thoughts.
Go on in.
All right, tell Mum I love her.
All right.
But not you. Oh, no, we still love you, Dad. No, make sure to come by and visit us often. No, I'm going to miss you lots. Nothing other than a blank stare. I paused a bit before reaching for the car door handle, waiting for any form of a goodbye, but he didn't speak again. I sighed and exited the car, hearing my dad pop open the trunk. The bags I packed last night were large enough to carry only the things I needed. I took them out, placed one bag on each shoulder, and closed the trunk. He then drove off, leaving me alone in front of the mansion. I watched the blue car fade into the distance of the road before turning to see my new home. Okay. So, an hour and a bit in, and hopefully now we get the men. The demons, the incubi, the seducing. There it is. It's huge. My grandfather gave me this. It's hard to believe. The house was framed by tall gates. I hesitantly pushed them aside to take in the entire estate. The house still looked like it was when I last visited him. At a glance, it seemed kind of intimidating with its size, though if I came closer, it was clear that there was more to it than that. The brick walls were framed by shrubbery and lovely flowers, giving it a homey and welcoming look, but in contrast, the tall doors into the house gave me a feeling of grandeur. Who knew what was waiting for me, but I wouldn't back down at this moment. I took out the key to the front doors and unlocked them. Well, might as well make myself at home. I'll be staying here for quite a while anyway. That is a ginormous house for an 18-year-old to look after, if there is no staff. That's when I saw them. Lying on the floor was a group of men. They were all unconscious. There was no explanation as to why they were here in the first place. I dropped my bags as I let the door close on its own behind me. Huh? Who the heck are these guys? Why are they here? What's going on? Some of them had open wounds. The blood was staining the floor and the scent was intermingling with the air. I couldn't help but feel bad for them instinctively, but I was still I was shocked and a bit angry at the sudden intrusion. My mind suddenly went from carrying concern to confused and demanding answers. Who are you people? No response. I'll call the police. Still nothing. None of them seemed to be awake. It seemed surreal to have random strangers in the house I just moved into. But I wanted answers quickly. That was until... get away from me!
You're going to let me kiss you.
Couldn't believe it! Within a mere blink of an eye, one of the men from lying on the floor to be right in front of my face. What was even more odd was the fact that I felt serene and calm about it. Dude, consent! Slowly desire burned from my chest, telling me to accept its kiss, even when my mind vehemently refused.
Good.
Go ahead. As he kissed me, I could feel my body go weak. I don't know why, but that kiss was draining me of my energy, and yet it was so good and made my heart sing. Aha! Incubi. They literally take energy from sex and acts like that. It was a strange and tingling feeling that danced over every nerve of my body. I could feel streams of intangible energy running through my veins and into my lips. It felt odd, but at the same time, it felt amazing.
Stop it.
The person kissing me, Sam, was his name, glanced behind him.
I said stop. Now.
Fine.
Finally, he pulled back, and I was left standing there in a daze. What? Huh? I couldn't tell what was going on. My mind was completely enwrapped by the kiss that melted the depths of my forgotten
Please
memories.
forgive my brother. He's a bit reckless.
At least I feel a hell of a lot better than you right now.
Because you used your abilities on her.
Whoa.
Sam, you're such a reckless brute. Taking advantage of a beautiful young woman like her.
Shut that pretty boy mouth of yours before I rip it off your pretty boy face.
Sheesh, you guys. Can we not fight right now? Not all of us are in the best state.
I guess you are right, Matthew.
I agree.
However, as the men got up and started to chat freely, my thoughts began to reassemble, and I remembered my confusion and anger once more, only now it was multiplied tenfold. What?
Huh? Did you say something beautiful?
Okay, I like his voice. And I exploded. What is going on? Why the hell are you in my house? Why are you all bleeding? You kissed me! Who are you? I couldn't help exploding, but after being taken advantage of and being left in a mush state, my words escaped without filter. It definitely scared the men around me, even the guy who kissed me. Stop jerking like that! Wait a second, the guy who kissed me?
Ouch! What's your problem?
What's your problem? You can't just go around forcing people to kiss you like that. You're some kind of pervert.
Pervert? It was only a kiss!
It might mean nothing to you, but it meant a lot to me.
What? Was it your first kiss? Ow! Hey! What was that for?
I know first kisses aren't exactly amazing and full of sparkles like out of a fairy tale, but I at least expected it to be more than just something forced on
So
me.
it was your first kiss. Stop making such a big deal out of it.
Are you asking to get punched again?
Well, what do you want me to do? It's not like I can somehow take it back.
You could apologize. Oh, okay. Do we want him to apologize, or do we want to hit him again? What do we think, chat? Until I gets him to apologize. Yeah. I'm gonna save. Just because. I mean, yes, but. Asking. Yeah. I feel like that is actually a good solution because if I have to ask him to apologize, it is just not the same as if someone realizes they did something wrong and then apologizes without having to be asked. Yes! That's exactly what I was trying to say, but you said it in like 4 words. So I'm going to hit him again.
Ow! You're just being violent now!
You deserved it. Anyways, if you try and pull any funny business in the future, just a fair warning. I know Taekwondo. I think I've bickered enough. Time to get back to the main issue. So, what exactly are you all doing in my house?
Miss, please forgive us in our intrusion. We didn't know this abode belonged to anyone, nor did we have the time to take that into consideration.
What do you mean? You can't just barge into people's homes.
We wouldn't have had to if we weren't as wounded as we are currently. We just escaped from a deadly fight that could have ended our lives. Luckily for us, your home was near and the windows were unlocked, so we quickly came inside.
Last I remember, there are laws preventing strangers from stepping on private property, although considering the severity of their wounds, it had to be serious. I guess that explains the wounds, but not why he kissed me. He had absolutely no right to do that.
Well, lovely flustered lady, it's hard to explain, truly. We're not exactly normal.
Not normal? What are you guys, demons or something? I was joking, but the boys seem to take my question differently.
Well, yeah, actually, something like that.
Huh?
We're incubi, miss. Demons who consume and use sexual energy of humans to survive.
Incubi? Demons that haunt humans and make them sex-crazed monsters? The mythical beings that could look like anyone just to get in your pants? The imaginary monsters you only saw in movies or on TV?
Hello? Did you hear him?
We're telling the truth.
Do you think she's still processing it?
Yes, and she'll understand right about...
Right, that was funny while it lasted, but it's time to cut the joke short. Incubuses don't exist. There's no way they actually exist. That would be practically impossible.
Ahem. Incubi is the correct plural form. And yes, we do exist.
Prove it. As soon as the words left my mouth, I instantly regretted
Very
them.
well. Eric, go ahead.
Very well. My sweet, you're so tempting with such non-belief. Let me ease your mind with a tender kiss. I promise you'll enjoy every minute of it, and maybe you'll even want more.
What? Once again, I was lost in a pool of calm and serenity. Staring into Eric's eyes, I felt waves of heat course through my chest and onto my face, painting my cheeks red in their wake. I couldn't help but nod and agree to his offer. You are feeling more seduced now, Dan! Woohoo! And we're being seduced by the guy with the nicest voice. Yeah, it's like, first song. Yeah, okay. With another kiss, my heart began to burn once again in my chest, and my mind was sent spinning in heated, passion-filled pleasure. Right, kiss? Okay. Once more, I could feel my body drain of energy as he kissed me.
All right, that's enough.
Aw, very well. I feel so much better.
As he pulled away, I was left in a mental mush pool. It felt weak in the knees, despite my will demanding me to stand straight in front of the boys before me. The world around me began to spin as I tried to speak. I think I'm gonna...
Ah, where are our manners? I'm James, and these are my brothers. Sam, Eric, Matthew, and Damien.
Miss, are you okay?
Shit. She fainted.
I couldn't believe it. Incubi, real. It all spun around in my head until I saw only black. Floating in the darkness, my mind began replaying the scene over and over again, reminding my body of the touch of lips against mine. However, I began to feel smooth silk around me, and my eyelids unwillingly opened. Where? I woke to find myself in an unfamiliar place. Where was my dad? I was pretty sure this wasn't my room. Oh wait, I lived at grandfather's house now. Of course it would be unfamiliar. I rubbed my eyes and surveyed my surroundings. I was still in the clothes that I arrived at the house in, but I was laying in a silk-covered bed. I remembered coming in the afternoon, so how is it nighttime already? Suppressing a yawn, I stretched my arms. Perhaps I should order some food for delivery. I was about to sit up when I suddenly realized I wasn't alone. My.
You're awake.
Oh, it's him. Huh? How long's he been standing there? And who the heck was he? A guy in my bedroom? Did we? There's no way. Hey, sorry, I think I was saying my thoughts aloud. Why was I apologizing to a stranger who only said 2 words since I woke up? Wait. He looked eerily familiar. Then it all came back to me. Incubus. He was an incubus. He and his brothers came here for refuge, and 2 of them kissed me, and then I fainted, and that was how things came to this. Oh! He was leaning against the far wall, looking at me. My heart began to race as I thought of the endless list of possibilities the situation brought me. I hated the thought of being under an incubus's power, especially in a bedroom. I feel if we jump up right now, we might... Sorry, I'm suppressing. It's supposed to be suppressing nuance. We might end up falling over and hurting ourselves. So we're just going to be calm. I took a deep breath. I was sure if anyone wanted to take advantage of me, they would have already. Yeah, I'm awake now.
That's good.
I saw a small form of a smile on his face, which made me blush a bit. Why, though? One thing still concerned me.
I'm not going to use my powers on you.
Huh? How?
I can read minds. It's an ability I was born with. Each of us has a different ability, outside of our usual mind-altering powers.
Great. Even more surprises. My worry about the situation I was in grew. I see. How long have I been asleep?
For a few hours. It's already gotten quite dark outside.
Ah, where are the others?
My brothers are downstairs, cleaning up the blood from the lobby floor. And making you dinner as an apology.
Oh, okay. That's unexpectedly sweet.
Oh, it's the least we can do after invading your home and two of us using our powers on you.
You've got a point. Right, I'd forgotten about that. It still irked me that they'd practically taken advantage of me at that point. But if they were demons, even if they were demons, it's pretty rude to demonstrate their powers by kissing me. I was not some toy they could use. All of this seemed unreal. It was like something out of those romance novels Naomi read. I wish I could have just gone back to sleep and forgotten all about this. Maybe I should have called the police on them, then I never would have landed in this situation.
Do you feel well enough to get out of bed?
Yeah, I think so.
Trust me, I won't let you go.
So sure about this.
I promise.
Okay, I trust
Good.
you. I was speechless. He was carrying me as if I weighed nothing. He was so strong. Yep, you're a slip. I
Thank
forgot.
you.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
It's all right. I'm used to it.
I decided to close my mouth for the time being. I didn't want to weird him out or make things more awkward than they already were. Well, he didn't seem to mind carrying me or listening to me talk, so at least things weren't so strange. Damien seemed very quiet and calm about everything. Especially with the situation we were in. However, there was a sort of longing in his eyes when he looked at me that wasn't lustful. It was more in admiration. Once we reached the lobby, I decided I felt well enough to walk on my own. As strong as he was, it was like he was carrying nothing. I didn't want to make him carry me everywhere. Oh, I totally would. Yeah, that would be mortifying. Thanks for carrying me, but I think I can walk by myself now. Not saying that I didn't like it. I mean, I liked it, not in a weird way, of course. It's not like I get carried around all the time. What I'm trying to say is that it was really nice of you to do that. He started to fumble over my words again, real smooth.
It's no problem. I'll be heading to the dining room then.
All right, see you. Oh, that jerky motion is annoying. The transitions are broken. It's fine. I mean, the game came out last year, so it's unlikely to be resolved, but I bet that's a glitch in the porting. Or possibly, I don't know, frame rate? I imagine what they're supposed to do is smoothly slide. What they are doing is making my brain ache. He gently lowered me to the ground before he walked off quietly, disappearing into the shadows of the dark lobby.
Oh, hi!
Suddenly, a boy who looked around my age, or possibly younger, bounced over to me. He looked vaguely familiar. Oh, wait. Ah, you're Matthew, right?
Mm-hmm, that's me. Are you feeling any better now? We were all worried when you suddenly passed out.
I'm fine.
Really? Your face is kind of red. Do you feel sick?
Nope, I'm fine. I'm sure of it. Must have been blushing when Damien was carrying me downstairs. How embarrassing.
Well, if you say so. I hope Sam and Eric didn't make you upset.
It's okay. After all, I did hit Sam after what he did. As for Eric, I just wanted you guys to prove to me what you were saying. I suppose Incubi are real then? I wondered how exactly I got myself into this mess. First my grandfather, then a fight with my father, blowing up at Lizette, and now this. I certainly had a knack for getting myself into sticky situations. That's literally just the last 2 days. That's it. She was at school, in economics class, going for lunch, got called to the office, and then literally the day the grandfather died, funeral, getting abused by her dad, going back to school, and then the next day, and then this. That is a lot for somebody to go through. She's going to need some serious therapy after this.
Oh, I have an idea.
He shoved his hands into his pockets with a cheesy grin on it, a cheery grin on his face.
Wait for it.
Is he trying to do a magic trick?
Ta-da!
What is that exactly? He smiled as if to wave it off, but when he opened his eyes and saw what he was holding, his face froze in shock.
Wait a second. What did I just make? This is...
What he produced from his pocket was a creepy-looking
Ah,
doll.
what is that?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna go back and pause on that because maniacal laughter. It's like a murder squirrel. It is a like my moida cat. It's a moida squirrel. Oh, I think Lady Magritte has already played this one. But yes, I'm sure she had feelings about that. Moida squirrel. His face paled considerably and he dropped it onto the floor, scooting away frantically.
Get it away from me! It might be possessed by a demon or something!
But isn't he a demon?
That's not what I wanted to make! I just wanted to surprise you with a stuffed animal or just something to cheer you up. That looks like it came straight out of a horror movie.
He slumped his shoulders and looked down at his feet. It's okay, you don't have to look so dejected. I mean, it's certainly unique. I think I'll keep it.
But it looks so creepy.
It's a moida squirrel. It's a thought that counts, right? You wanted to cheer me up after all. I picked up the doll and took a closer look. Pretty weird at first, but it could be cuter from a certain angle. I gave him a small smile. Does now have a weapon. Thanks.
You're welcome. It's good to see you smiling, even though the thing I made still kind of creeps me out. Anyway, you should come with me to the dining room. We're almost finished with the food, and, well, I don't mean to brag, but we're pretty decent chefs.
So after I picked that one, behind me there was like a blue heart that sort of thumped once, so I am assuming, but we can't see it, that there's some sort of relationship meter thing. I mean, obviously I would like to be seduced by the guy with the lovely deep voice, and not the child who is younger than me. Definitely that would be weird. But yeah. Was it Eric? I think it was Eric. Anyway, he had a nice voice, so he could seduce us any day. That's getting really annoying. Okay, anyway, continue to meal. Sounds great, lead the way. Something smells good. My stomach rumbled in agreement. I was starving.
Oh, the girl's awake.
Excuse you, I have a name, you know.
Should we really care?
You're in my house.
Sam, I will roast that tongue for dinner if it doesn't stop flapping in that idiotic mouth of yours.
Whatever.
I apologize for his attitude.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Good. I hope you'll enjoy the meal we prepared for you.
Meal? For a second, my mind didn't understand what James meant. Maybe it was the shot from the doll getting into my head and distracting me. Oh, that's right. Damien and Matthew mentioned that they were making dinner as an apology. Oh, wait, you didn't have to.
We insist. Besides, it's quite impossible to undo our cooking, even if you command us to.
All right, well, thank you. Matthew put down the last of the plates on the table and bowed a bit exaggeratedly to me, gesturing to the table with a sweeping motion.
There we go. Dinner's all served.
The table was filled with food from an eclectic selection of cuisines. One portion of the table was filled with elegantly plated Asian food, another portion some yummy-looking desserts, and there was yet more and more plates than I could have possibly imagined. Whoa, that's a lot of food. It looks amazing.
We hope you enjoy it, my sweet.
That voice. One, I kind of hope this shows pictures of food. I do like it when visual novels give us pictures of food because it always makes me hungry. Even though I am, in real life, a really restricted eater. There are lots of things I can't eat and things that I can eat. But anyway. if people made food for me, I would feel incredibly stressed and awkward unless I had had some input on what was being made. What? Sweet?
That's
Me?
enough, Eric.
You're no fun, James.
I don't need to be fun, Eric. Miss, please follow me.
I don't know what came over me, whether it was his manners or his powers, but I couldn't help but take his offered arm. James seemed very kind and intelligent. Aside from that, there was something that set him apart from his brothers. To mention, he didn't really seem to hold much appreciation for them.
Miss, I have to ask, why do you live alone?
Well, it's kind of a long story.
I'm all ears if you wish to tell.
Sure. To put it briefly, I just moved today.
That explains the luggage you brought in when you came through the front doors. By the way, we put your belongings in the room you were sleeping in. That seems to be the master bedroom, I believe.
Thanks, this house is really big. I don't think I even explored the entirety of the estate when I was a child.
You lived here before?
Truth be told, this was my grandfather's house. I used to visit him all the time when I was younger.
May I ask why you now live in your grandfather's house?
Because he died yesterday. It was bequeathed to me in his will, and I was sent to live here whether I liked it or not.
My condolences. It seems like you don't like the idea of living here.
It's not that I don't like this house. I don't have fond memories of being here. It's just the implications that come with staying at this estate. It's sort of complicated to explain.
How do you feel about it?
I certainly wasn't expecting that question. I was quite surprised. It was different from what I'd heard the entire day at school. I appreciated the fact that he was willing to listen. I feel angry, sad, scared, and confused. It's hard picking out the different emotions that I'm feeling right now. I wish I was stronger.
You don't have to be strong.
What do you mean?
I understand that you're going through a difficult time, so it's okay to feel those emotions. You don't have to be strong at all.
Thank you.
Are you all right? There seems to be a small bruise on your cheek.
I had completely forgotten about my cheek, but even if I remembered, I thought no one would have noticed something as small as that. That's really sweet. I'm fine. He stopped and leaned in close, a bit too close for comfort, inspecting my face. He was really quite tall, having to bend over quite a bit just to look at my face. It's hard to look at him, especially when he was so close. After a few seconds, he straightened up and began walking again.
Well, if you're having any problems, I'm always here to listen.
That's really kind of you to offer.
My pleasure. Here's your seat.
Okay, I thought he was going, like, OTT with the gentlemanly thing, but if he noticed the bruise, then it's just gone way up in my estimation, and he still has a nice voice. But of course, you know, I want to be seduced by the arsehole with gorgeously deep voice. Because, dumber.
Let me get your chair for you, lovely lady.
Oh, Eric was very charming, and his smile pulled at my heart. The way he kept on flirting with me definitely designated him as the playboy of the brothers. Yet I noticed there was a little distance in his eyes.
By the way, I apologize for my behavior earlier. Stealing your second kiss like that.
Thank you! Huh. Oh, yeah, I did believe when they said they were incubi. It's fine. I mean, you didn't just get up and grab a kiss for no reason.
I'm not as forward, unlike Sam.
Thank you for apologizing. Suddenly, Eric leaned in and whispered in my
I
ear.
won't lie, though. I enjoyed kissing you and feeling you melt in my arms.
I was torn between smacking him and trying to play it cool. Smack him, because he apologized without prompting. So we're going to be cool. You sure are quite the charmer.
Yes, I am known for that.
As much as I appreciate the constant compliments, you don't have to keep talking to me like that.
Like what?
He batted his eyelids as if he had no idea what I was talking about, and I couldn't help but laugh. Well, you're like trying to get in my pants half the time.
I can assure you, I'm just a lover of beautiful women.
Mm-hmm. Something tells me there's more to it than that. Oh, we got a black heart beating with pink around it. For a moment he looked away, losing a bit of his smile. Before I could question it, though, he turned back to me with a new teasing smile.
Did you want there to be more?
Are you feeling seduced yet, Dan? More seduced? Is everyone in chat enjoying the seduction now? I mean, there were people here, so I'm assuming. And everyone's keeping quiet, so I stop interrupting. I didn't want to hit him, but I didn't know how to react, so I just couldn't look at him. Chuckled again in my ear.
Sorry. You just look so cute when you're blushing.
I felt my face heat up simply from his words. Then Eric took my hand and
I
kissed
hope
it
you'll
gently.
enjoy dinner, however, my dear.
You don't know what you're feeling, Dan. I mean, that is perfectly okay. And you're feeling sad because the burp cam broke. I am sorry to hear that. I am glad that it is nothing more serious than the bird cam breaking, though. You're eager to see what dinner is. Yes, I want them to show us pictures of the food. I mean, that was like the... Not that really was the best bit of playing Strawberry Vinegar all those years ago as our sort of first stream on Twitch. First proper official stream on Twitch. Because the food made me drool. Anytime a game starts talking about food, we get a whole food conversation going in chat, and I'm just like, yes, I love looking at food, talking about food. Sometimes I like eating it. All of today I've been like ridiculously hungry and then not being able to eat anything, which is just the most weird sensation. But at least I had 3 meals. They were small, but I had them. And I had my tablets. Ooh, you were watching people make kimchi on stream last night. Nice. I've had kimchi. No, Daisy had a recipe for that. Anyway. Hopes we'll enjoy dinner. I drew my attention back to the dishes. I was both intrigued and slightly scared of the amount of food they made. Seeing my expression, Eric leaned forward and proudly smiled, gesturing to all of the dishes with a dramatic sweep of his arm.
I made almost all of the dishes myself.
Did you now? Humorously enough, Matthew looked at him with a shocked expression as if he were betrayed. His face changed instantly to that
And
of a
I'm the
frown.
Queen of the Nile.
What's that supposed to mean?
Me, you, and James did the work together, dummy.
It's you, James, and I, Matthew.
Little boys will always make mistakes.
Don't be mean. Matthew looked at James in disbelief, probably for siding with Eric, and annoyedly
I'm not a
swiveled
little
back.
boy. I'm barely a year younger than you.
Oh.
Well, you certainly don't act like it.
I really couldn't help but laugh. Matthew seemed very much like a kid. He was adorable. However, I couldn't help but feel like, in a way, he was much more mature than the others, especially Eric.
Huh? Is something funny?
No, it's nothing at all. Thank you for the meal, all of you.
Oh. You're welcome, miss.
He's like a golden
Such
retriever.
a well-mannered young lady. Beautiful inside and out.
Eric, knock it off.
In agreement with Matthew, Sam cocked his head and glared at Eric.
Seriously, you're getting really annoying with that suck-up act.
It was obvious that Sam was the bad boy of the group. No. No. Excuse me. He's not a bad boy. He is a brat. Rick is the bad boy. James is the preppy. Matthew's the golden retriever. The little puppy. And I forgot the other guy's name. Damien. Caretaker? Possibly. But excuse me, Sam is not the bad boy. He is an absolute brat. Brat. He deserved getting slapped. I'd hit him again if I could. He had this big tough guy acting. Physically, he was the strongest of the 5. Really? Look at those arms. They're like noodles. Ugh. That's not a bad boy. But was there more to him than that? I don't want to know. I am very unappealed to him.
I'm just trying to be a gentleman. The young girl has already gone through so much. She deserves a good treatment.
There's a difference between being a gentleman and being an obnoxious flirt.
Schooled even by James. You're gonna need some cold water for that burn.
By the way, I don't believe we caught your name even though you know each of us. It's a pleasure to finally know your name.
Yeah, that's a nice name.
I should have just kept it as Joe, but that would have made me feel weird. They were so comfortable around me despite the awkward situation we landed in. It was as if it was totally natural for them to be around humans. I guess this was just how incubi worked. But I was still curious about one thing. Excuse me? All at once they turned to me. I don't know why, but having them all look at me made me feel kind of important. Like a queen or something. I mean, I can see what they were trying to do with Sam, but no. 100% not a bad boy. Brat. 100% brat. Yeah.
What is it, miss?
Stop calling me miss. I mean, thank you for the food, but I still need to know why you all came here. I feel like I don't quite understand. Understand? Yeah, like being told a bunch of incubi randomly appearing in your house was perfectly understandable.
Oh, how do we explain?
We were attacked. We came here to heal. What's so difficult to understand?
Now you're just being rude, Sam.
I'm just saying, how is that difficult to understand?
Attacked by who? I mean, what specifically happened?
Well, you see, we've been traveling around for quite some time now. Just recently we came into town, but we were jumped by this band of misfits. So, in order to escape and heal, we came here for shelter. Again, we apologize for the mess we made.
I wonder if that Lizette girl from school is one of the misfits. Fine, I guess. So you're all better now, right?
Yup, all thanks to you.
Huh? Me?
You see, beautiful, we feed on sexual energy. But we don't just get it from kissing lovely ladies such as yourself. We can simply touch someone's hand to obtain sexual energy. Everyone carries sexual energy, you know.
I was shocked. It wasn't just kissing that gave you power. It was anything physical. No wonder I was out for a while. These incubi intrigued me, but I could almost hear a warning siren going off.
Is there anything else you wish to know?
Well, what do you all plan to do now?
Yeah, what are we gonna do now, James?
That is a very good question. We just got here and surely we'll be hunted again if we leave.
We can take him easily.
Not without more training, Sam. The result of that was clearly evident in our last encounter with them.
At that moment, I didn't know what came over me, but I felt sorry for them. I was literally going to say that, Dan. They couldn't survive out there. If they didn't know breaking and entering was against the law, they probably didn't know what else was illegal. They would cause chaos all over town. And yeah, it's a very big house, and they did make food. And maybe that would solve the problem of the living alone thing. Yes, because we just would invite 5 complete strangers, complete stranger men into our home as a, 18-year-old? I hesitate to use the word girl because at that point legally an adult, but she's still at school. James has butler vibes. I know, right? Make Sam clean the toilets. And take out the bins. On the flip side, they could be taken in for questioning and be poked and prodded like frogs for lab research. That was even worse. But most of all, they reminded me of back then. I was standing alone. The entire classroom was filled with laughter and chatter, but I stood in the midst of it, quiet and alone. It was strange seeing the whole world pass in front of me with such vibrancy all while I stood there. On the plus side, I wasn't engaged in any drama that might have arisen, like scribbling on someone's paper for revenge or... Huh? kicking someone too hard. It was kind of nice just standing back and watching things pass by and life go on. I had long convinced myself that I preferred being alone. I've encouraged myself, saying, yeah, I want to be alone. There's no one I like better than me, so I ought to spend more time with myself. But there was a certain bitterness that made me feel sad. There was a difference between being alone and feeling lonely. I just didn't realize it at that time. And even after that moment, my father, my mother, there was no one to turn to. I was so lonely. That's when I decided on it right then. I was going to see my grandfather. I didn't care if my father wouldn't take me. I was going to walk my way over there and see what he had to say about it. 5 bears would be safer. Exactly. Oh, knobhead time in the garden. I mean, the garden's too nice. I'm making a janitor. Literally, bins, toilets, unclogging drains, all the horrible, horrible household tasks. I think Matthew would probably be a real good gardener. He's got that lots of energy. But yeah, 5 bears would be safer. Definitely. I had never seen him before that. Okay, I think there's a couple of typos in these bits. Okay. I'd never seen him before that. What better time to see him then? If no one else was going to help me with what I was feeling, I might as well have turned to him. So after school, I decided to walk there. I had no idea how to get there, and I was armed with only a scrap of paper with the address scribbled on it. As a 7-year-old, I obviously had great ideas. Soon, I knew I was lost. I just stood there on the sidewalk, back pressed up against the wall, and eyes watching the strangers passing by. And like always, people continued to pass by, and life continued to go on. I was more depressed than ever. I had ended up in the situation I was originally in. Nothing had changed. I thought that I was silly for even thinking that I could change things in my own hands. That was until a voice brought me back to reality.
Hun, is that you?
I looked up and saw an unfamiliar face, but it was obvious that whoever was talking to me knew who I was. And from that moment, things began to change. Life began moving its rusty joints, and I realized that things were moving along. Suddenly, I became part of the crowd that moved like a blur past me. I was no longer someone who stood still and watched life pass by. Life had changed. I had changed. Because the person who found me that day was my grandfather. I had the opportunity to help them. The question was, would I? The question is, why are you not showing us the food? I don't think they're going to show us the food, Dan. Don't think they're going to show us the food. I am going to mark it down half a star for not seeing the food. I wanted to, but I wasn't sure that was the best idea. After all, 5 demons in my house wasn't exactly the living arrangement that I had imagined moving into. There was the matter of making sure no one found out about their powers. Thinking about them as lab rats made my stomach queasy. And even if they passed for humans, how would I explain having guys living in my house? Friends came over, they would practically think that I was a part of a harem or something. I mean, or something. I mean, I believe it's a reverse harem. When it's guys, I don't know why it has to be reversed. Why they can't both be just harems? But yeah, there was a point I was going to make. I don't know what I was going to make. Anyway, imagine if my parents came over. I think my mum would faint. Who knows what my dad would do? I think he would have them arrested on the spot. That's just hard. Maybe I should have written out a pros and cons list before having to actually make the decision.
Don't
that was
worry
it.
too much about it. You have plenty of time to decide. Besides, you should do what makes you happy as well.
Okay, we'll unpack the part where we're hearing our deceased grandfather's voice. The guy on the left, the one that carried us down the stairs, he can hear all this conversation in our head. So we better come to a good decision, else, they might steal all our energy and then, kill us. It was strange that I happened to remember what my grandfather said to me when I was little, but it did kind of make sense. They weren't in the same exact situation that I was in before, but I did want to help them out. I think it would ease my conscience and also make me a bit happy to give them help, as weird as that sounded. Clenching my hands into fists, I strengthened my resolve to speak up. Well, you could...
What was that, lovely lady?
That is,
Spit it out already.
You could stay with me here if you'd like. As soon as I finished, the room became still. I'm not sure what went through their heads. The silence in the air cut like a knife until I spoke up once more. It looks like you all need a place to stay, and well, I just moved into this giant house, so it makes sense to ask. It was still quiet in the room. I decided to keep talking. If you would like to stay here, though, there are two things that I need all of you to follow.
Yes?
First of all, you can't use your powers or deliberately do something that might harm me or any guest that comes over. Well, say for enemies, but you get the gist of it.
That sounds reasonable.
Second, you have to help me with any errands around the house. This place is kind of big, so yeah.
That is a generous offer, miss. Are you sure that would be okay? We don't wish to burden you any more than we already have.
It's all right. Really. I mean, I just started living here myself, so I appreciate some help around the house.
A wonderful idea. We'll live here and train while helping you with the house. Servants for the lovely princess.
Sam looks a bit angry.
What? Are you serious?
Shh, be quiet, Sam. I haven't slept in a bed for days.
It's like Legally Blonde, where, you know, I like the way his ass looks in a thong. They all seem to like the idea except for Sam and him. Didn't hate the idea either, even if they were incubi. It'd be interesting having 5 guys help me to take care of the house, given they would follow the rules that I'd laid down.
Fine, but we're not staying here forever. Only until we can beat up that group of punks.
I think that is a reasonable time limit for our stay.
Yes, this is awesome.
I can let
Also
Matthew be
beautiful.
friend.
If you need a bedfellow.
Eric, knock it off.
I was happy they agreed. Maybe it was because I wasn't being lonely for a while, or because they all needed help. Never be sure.
So what are we waiting for? Let's celebrate and dig in.
Finally, I'm starving.
Instantly, Matthew and Sam began to stuff themselves with the food on the table. I noticed James's eye twitching in irritation, so I stifled my incoming
Really,
laugh.
you two? You're both acting like pigs.
What if this is the origin story of Five Guys the Burger Boys? No, they said it was Asian food and desserts. But we didn't get to see the food, so it could have been burgers.
Oh, let them have a little freedom, James. It's not like we've eaten recently either. I'm
Where'd
sure
they get
they've
the
been
food from?
starving.
Still, that's no excuse for stuffing their faces like backyard swine.
I almost couldn't hold it in. So I didn't. It's important to laugh. Green, red, blue. I couldn't hold in my laughter anymore. As I laughed, Matthew and Sam looked my way, faces stuffed.
Is something funny? What are you laughing at?
I stopped to catch my breath and leaned over the table and took a few breaths before replying. You both are so funny. Both of their faces turned a slight pink before they looked away and swallowed the food in their mouths.
Shut up! We're not funny. We're hungry.
Well, we're glad that we made you laugh.
Shut up, Matthew!
What? I'm just saying.
It's dangerous to hold in laughter.
See, James, it's entertainment for her.
Funny to me. At least they enjoyed the food. As I watched, I took some food for myself and placed it on my plate before eating as well. Eventually, we all ate dinner together. It was strange eating with just guys, but they were enjoyable to be around. They made me feel like part of their family as we ate together. However, our peace was soon disturbed. It's my mum. Excuse me.
Hey, honey, how are you? I'm sorry I didn't get to see you off.
Hi, Mum. Everything's fine. I'm actually eating dinner right now.
Oh, good, good. So there was food there. Well, your father wanted me to call and talk to you about having a house party tomorrow night to celebrate the new house and all.
A house party? Tomorrow night?
Your
So
father
soon?
insists. You know how he is.
That's really
with
hard to
events.
organise. I knew exactly what she meant. He didn't like long, relaxing periods between important events. It was slightly messed up. I was expected to act on the drop of a dime, from moving immediately the day after a funeral to my grandfather's house to now organising a party. I know, well, since I don't exactly have you two here to help me arrange it, I'm going to need some time to prepare things.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, Suzu and Naomi can help. I have work, and you know how your father is.
So yeah, sure, I will just ask my two friends to give me a hand. And also, are we just going to explain the five guys away by saying they're school friends? No, I have to do it myself. He won't
I'm
help.
sure it'll be amazing, honey. I have faith in you.
Thanks, Mum.
All right, I gotta go. I love you, sweetie.
You enabler, you. Love you too, Mum. The transition's being broken is annoying me now. Great, how am I going to do
Is
this?
something wrong?
She has to organize a house party for her parents.
Huh? Oh, right. Mind reading. But yeah, I have to do it soon or my parents will be really disappointed. Let's stay up and organize everything tonight.
Hey, why don't we help you? That's what we're here for, right?
I don't see why not.
I can name a few reasons why we shouldn't.
Hey, you broke into my house.
Back off.
We'll take
Force
care of
yourself upon
everything,
me.
miss. Just leave everything to us.
Surprising, I didn't think the boys would offer help right off the bat. Couldn't help but smile. I was actually thankful that I let them stay. Now I didn't have to do everything alone. As I kept thinking about it, I couldn't help but yawn.
Feeling a little tired over there, princess?
Yeah. It's been a long day. At least tomorrow's the weekend, so I can sleep in. Then it hit me. Wait, where are you all gonna sleep?
We found some guest rooms on the opposite end of the house from the master bedroom. I'm sure those will do just fine.
Oh, got it. Alright, I'm heading to my room to study and sleep. I guess I'll see you all tomorrow.
Have a good night.
I will. You too. With that, I left the dining room and went to my room.
Eric, no.
What? I wasn't going to do anything.
Yes, he was.
As soon as I got to my room, a wave of exhaustion hit me. Why am I so tired all of a sudden? I just woke up from the nap. Dragged myself to bed and hauled up one of my bags. I opened it and grabbed my economics book, knowing that no matter how tired I was, I'd study at least a page or two before sleeping at last. I mean, it could be because she just ate that she's tired. I always get tired after I've eaten. Apparently it's an autism thing. Go figure. I'm tired all the time, so, you know. The words on the page scrambled in my mind as I read through them, but after 2 or 3 tries, I managed to understand what the page was about. Equations. Ugh. Finally, I decided to change my pajamas and head to bed. Today had been a long day and I needed the rest. Hopefully tomorrow will be better. 3 days of surprises in a row would kill me. Ooh, excuse me. With that thought in my mind, I drifted to sleep, embracing the darkness of slumber.
You fucking pretty boys think you're all that, huh? Well, save that to the end of my pistol!
What's going on? Couldn't move my body. I felt like I was tied up and I couldn't see anything beyond the darkness that surrounded me. Yet I could hear the sounds of a heated argument coming at me from all directions.
One move and she gets it!
Scruff!
Let her go!
Ma?
Come on, chicken shit. Fight us like a real man.
Like you scare me, Sam! Come on! Take one step. I dare you.
Yeah, sometimes I'm not tired when I'm sleeping. Exactly. Why can't I see?
Stay away from her, Malix!
And what are you gonna do, nerd boy?
Suddenly I felt myself pulled to one side, arms wrapped around my body protectively.
I've got you. Don't worry.
Huh? Eric? As I was held in a tight embrace, I felt the world around me once again settle into a low, peaceful hum. The hostility of the dream before had faded into black as the arms around me rocked me comfortingly. Slowly, though, my eyes fluttered open, and I looked at the person holding me. Damien? I stared into the eyes of Damien. His face was painted with worry and concern, and I knew he must have seen my dream. Why did I dream of Eric holding me, though?
You can't control your dreams.
Oh well, I guess you're right.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. What time is it?
It's 9 a.m. James and I were making breakfast when I, well...
You can't control your mind reading?
No, not yet at least. I hope to learn eventually, though.
Is everything alright?
No, yeah,
That's
I'm
good.
alright.
I'm assuming you had a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm sorry for disturbing you both.
You didn't disturb us, miss. Besides, we'd rather make sure you're okay before anything.
Cute.
Now, why don't you come downstairs with us and have some breakfast? I'm sure some nice food will take your mind off of what you dreamt of.
Seemed to be the damsel in distress, but I felt rather happy that James and Damien were concerned for me, despite only knowing me for a short time. I wasn't sure if it was just courtesy or if they were genuinely concerned. Both? Neither? How you doing, Scruffs? But yes, the monarch of buttons. Oh no, is your neck still bothering you? Balls. I hope it eases soon, or something helps it. I always find chocolate helps in that situation. Not necessarily with neck pain, but it makes me feel a bit better. You can at least turn to the right today. Score. GG. Yeah. I should have gone for a walk today because it was raining and not sunny, but I couldn't get myself to go out the door. I could have used a treadmill, but that would have involved putting socks on and shoes. And I was just like, ugh. Working with a bad neck is fun? That does not sound like fun. It really doesn't sound like fun. My neck's always hurting, but it's at least turnable. I think one time I did pull a muscle and I couldn't turn it without it hurting. I slept funny on it. Took ages. Manager? Let's say I go outside for some fresh air, but it's London, so it's just air. And that's why I have the treadmill. I just really didn't want to put socks on. And you're supposed to wear shoes to use the treadmill, which is, I think, a sticking point for why I haven't used it as much. I don't like wearing shoes inside. But anyway. Scruff, we are being seduced by 5 demon boys. This is the level that we've got to in our stream. I couldn't exactly read their minds. Alright. The 2 boys led me back to the dining room where the smell of bacon and eggs danced in the air. The smell wafted from the kitchen and made its way into the room, making my stomach growl in need. Breakfast smells good. But you're not going to show it to us, are you?
Breakfast soon. If you want to sit down at the table, you can.
We're not going to see the food. I nodded before sitting down. As I sat down, however, my mind drifted back to the dream I had. That feeling of facility around me made my body shudder instinctively, even though I knew it wasn't real. However, as my eyes closed, I felt a hand place itself on top of my head, breaking me out of my thoughts. Huh?
Morning. You alright?
Yeah, I'm fine. Sam, the owner of the hand on my head, raised an eyebrow at me before rustling my hair and moving away to sit down at the table. He then barked towards the kitchen where James was working.
Hey! Is the food done yet? I'm starving!
He's being surprisingly kind, considering he basically forced a kiss on me and was very rude yesterday. I saw your millionaire shortbread. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm very jealous. I have normal shortbread. I do not have millionaire shortbread. My grandma used to make that. We just used to call it caramel shortbread. And I've made it with my mum, but I've not made it myself. I would believe you. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's one of those things. It's like shortbread is fairly okay to make. Caramel is the thing that takes the time for me. When Mum made it the first time, she just didn't take the time to just stir and stir and stir and stir until the caramel turns into caramel, or the condensed milk turns into caramel. So your first time it sort of was a bit smooshy, but the second time I was just like, wait for it. Look, I'll do the stirring. And then, yeah, the chocolate part on the top's easier. I think gluten-free shortbread has got to be harder. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's like a family tradition, but I've not made it on my own. Baking sometimes stresses me out. It's less shortbready. I can see that. But if you nailed that consistency first time, that is impressive. But then you have patience. My mum didn't. She was like, oh, I've been doing this for like 5 minutes. It must be done. It's like, no, it says to wait. So you've just got to wait. Maybe I'll try making it one time on my own. I don't know. I don't have a good pan, actually, to put it in. So probably not. Need to get a new pan first. And I don't have space for a new pan, so I'll just make it at Mum's next time. But yeah, it's a family thing. The base looks like crushed biscuit and has a sort of bite in. Yeah, I mean, gluten-free, I understand. I made gluten-free scones. They were also dairy-free as well. They were like, they fell apart. They crumbled. I mean, looking at crushed biscuits, fine. Does it sort of taste okay? Or does it feel like you needed something to bind it together? Because something like xanthium gum is supposedly used in like vegan stuff to bind ingredients together. Not vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free. I meant gluten-free. I can't word today. It might make it more of a sort of like together thing. But yeah, if it's edible. You're pressing it down when you bake the base. Yeah. I mean, if it's pictures of food, please feel free to put it in the food channel. I think I have a food channel. Yeah, I have a food channel. Please feel free to put pictures of food in my food channel. You don't have to just DM me in them. Alright. Food should be shared with everybody. I think the part I've not done is I've not made shortbread before. I've made biscuits. I've made cookies. Ah. Yes, and then I can drool over it some more. But I've not made shortbread. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. You can DM me the one you're not happy with. That's okay. But yeah, this game is refusing to show us the food, which loses half a star in my rating. But it is fully voiced, aside from the narrator and the character, so... I mean, I've also made cake. I'm not massively happy with how my cake turns out. It's the same recipe that I use, but, you know, it's okay. It's not brilliant. I can make cookies. I can make pancakes. And thus I can also make Yorkshire pudding. Crumble is my favourite sort of bakey thing. It's not really a bakey thing though. It's also my favourite dessert. But yeah, I can do cookies. And I've done biscuits. I don't know if I was happy with them or not. Okay. They sort of flopped a little bit. They didn't maintain their height. Yeah. I wonder if there's something else you need to do for gluten-free shortbread. I mean, they still look very tasty. I mean, not quite as tasty as the Millionaire shortbread. That is a gorgeous caramel you've got in there. Nice thick layer of chocolate. I've gotten one achievement on this game so far, I think. One achievement out of 43. Oh well. Which is the story begins, which literally as I started the story. Okay, well, I think the episodes are going to be the extra content that we saw. And we got some true. Whoa, okay, fine. There's lots of different endings. God, there may be like 3 endings for each person. Oh, except the Diana might be the second game. I don't know. I mean, this is me. Even though Sam is saying this, I would totally be like, yeah. I mean, like one tiny one, because, you know, with the diabetes, although I do have the tablets, I shouldn't probably eat like too much of the pure sugar. It's like my cookies that I make are like half golden syrup, so they're just pure sugar. I took them into work once, and one of the people I work with had like half a cookie and was just buzzing around the office. I was like, I had like 2 or 3, but it doesn't affect me the same way. I still remember the chocolate orange you made me. That was amazing. You are very talented with the sweet treats. I really would bake more stuff if I think at the moment I'm just not happy with my plans. I have some cake tins. No, yours is round. I could probably do it in a cake tin. It's just, you know, like my mum has like a whole selection of different baking trays and tins and stuff, and I just don't have enough room for them. And half of them I've either set on fire or destroyed somehow. I like cooking. I like cooking for other people. Cooking for myself is less fun. But anyway.
There's no need to yell, Sam!
You're yelling too!
Don't argue with me!
Transitions. From behind me, Eric appeared and sat beside me, rubbing his temples in obvious annoyance.
Can we not yell this early in the morning? It's not like we're in the castle.
Castle? Yeah, my sister-in-law has this really cool baking tin that I just used for everything while I was there. And it's not like the usual non-stick one. It's like this sort of solid. I need to ask her what it is, because it feels like it's not got a coating on it that's going to peel off in the goddamn dishwasher. And if I had some more like that, then I would feel better about like baking, because they're nice. I mean, yeah, sometimes cooking myself. I like making a good casserole or risotto, but I have sort of accidentally limited myself in what I'm making and what I do in batches. So, yeah. Shortbread fingers. Yum, 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 yum. I don't know, I just wish I had more space. Like a bigger freezer so I could just like batch cook when I was feeling cooking and then freeze portions of food. You know, I could even make my own soup. I could, you know, get all the stuff in the supermarket when it's on like really good offers in bulk. And very rarely, you know, run out of things. Except for eggs. Me and eggs have a weird relationship. Too big for you? I mean, that sounds perfect. My freezer is diddy. You know, freezing stuff is brilliant. You can freeze pretty much everything. my kitchen aisle. I just don't want to do a cooking stream because I have a weird relationship with food. But I do definitely want an aisle does feature in my I want to move out of London kitchen with more cupboards and just more counter space so I can do stuff. But yeah. Anyway, let's do a little bit more of the game because it's getting late and I have to try and get up early because I do have to be up early on Thursday and Friday. No, I have to be vaguely early tomorrow. I have to be up early on Thursday. Friday, I'm gonna have a lie-in. It's just because Thursday I've got like a coaching thing at like 8 a.m. time zones. I hate them. But then I've got an interview at 11. And then after that, it's just going to be and collapse. But yeah. Tomorrow I've got a call with a recruiting person at 9:30. So that's not. You've Oh, it's interesting because, I find it better to cook when I've got the spoons so that when I don't have the spoons, I've got some frozen things that I can just literally reheat. Um, so, yeah. Anyway, let's see what's going on and then see, we start talking about food. I love talking about food. Honestly, I would love to geek out about baking and stuff. But I also want to see what's going on with this game. I'm really not sure whether I want to do more streams. I don't think I do. I think if you want to find out what happens with the ridiculously hot men with the sexy voices, you may have to buy the game. There's 2 games actually, and bonus episodes. So it's pretty good value if you're actually gonna listen to it. I might have this on like and actually listen to it while I'm like cooking and stuff. Because I'm making a stew tomorrow. I've got all the ingredients. We're gonna make extra bacon. Because I love bacon and I will just eat it. And I could put bacon on my bagel. I don't have bread for a sandwich, but I could nip out and get a baguette. Oh, I could nip out tomorrow after my interviews, get a baguette. Bacon baguette. Bacon baguette. I think we've got a winner. I get some brie as well. I am terrible at making bread. I've made salt dough for prop pieces when I was a kid, teenager, but I don't have the patience to make bread with the proving and stuff. My sister-in-law has a bread maker that she swears by, and it does look like it produces amazing bread, but I'm sure I could bugger that up. You refuse to buy... Why do you refuse to buy other than gluten-free bread when my mum used to buy it looked like cardboard? I don't know. I think it's better now. Because my friend Simon's gluten-free. Actually, one of my sister-in-law's nieces are gluten-free, I think, as well. I have gluten-free fish fingers that are actually really nice. Because they don't have paprika in them. Because the gluten ones have paprika in them. I can't have paprika. It's expensive. Yeah, I mean, yeah, expensive. That makes sense. Bread makers are leaky proof. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Patrick makes the most amazing bread He made tiger bread for me. Like, by hand. No bread machine. £3 for a loaf that's basically the same size as the small loaves that are like 80p. That probably not 80p anymore because inflation. Though the Bank of England interest rate thingy went down, which means my mortgage payments went down, which was a nice bonus. You know, when you're not earning really a lot. Oh, okay, I was right on the thing. If I mentioned it last year, you could have given me a free bread maker. I don't have room for a bread maker. I would love a bread maker and an air fryer and a rice cooker. I have no room for them. I only have room for the gadgets that I already have, which is a toaster, a cheese toasty, kettle, hot chocolate machine, which is tiny really, and my blender, which is in the cupboard. Leaky, you just need to post in my Discord when you've got stuff you want to get rid of. Because I'm sure people would, you know, take it off your hands and things. But I know that that wasn't particularly yours in that sense. So, you know, you weren't thinking about that. However, yeah, this is when I move out of London and I have a bigger kitchen. And a bigger freezer. I can get all the gadgets. And I kind of want a cupboard with a shelf that you pull out the shelf with the gadgets on, and then you can put the thing down so the gadgets don't get dirty and dusty, but they're also really convenient to use. Yeah, me too, Scrap, me too. Though I have all the food channels open because I like seeing people's pictures of food. Anyway, right. For some reason, when I heard the word castle, I couldn't help but yell in surprise. These guys had a castle? Sam looked at me and smoked at my reaction.
Yeah, we have a castle back home. Our dining room's 10 times bigger than this room.
Wow. I just mute most of them, Scruff, I'll be honest. Except for, like, half a dozen.
And wouldn't it be logical to not yell?
Whatever.
Soon, James and Damien appeared, carrying plates full of bacon, eggs, toast, and waffles. They placed the plates down by each seat before seating themselves.
My favorite.
Finally.
Thank you for the breakfast. It looks amazing.
It's our pleasure.
All of a sudden, my phone began to ring, ushering me to pull it from my pocket and answer. Hello?
Hey, good morning! Guess who's at your door right now?
Around cue, there was a knock from the lobby door. My heart stopped. Suzu and Naomi were here.
I'll get it!
My heart quickly went to pound in my chest. Matthew was in the lobby and he'd get to the door first. I instantly jumped out my chair and rushed out of the dining room. As I passed through the archway between the dining room and the lobby, I saw Matthew reach his hand for the brass door handle, causing the world to go into slow motion. Matthew, don't! Before my words could reach his ears, Matthew had opened the door and revealed the surprised faces of Naomi and Suze. People around me stopped as Suzu and Naomi kept their eyes on Matthew, who merely stared back in fear and embarrassment. I could feel the air going from warm to freezing in a matter of seconds.
Hi?
Could not believe this was happening. How was I going to explain this? This week was bad enough already. To make matters worse, I was frozen in place. Please, for God's sake, someone do something other than stand there.
Who are you?
And Scruff, I wish I could tune out that, but the red bubbles either have to be eliminated or red. So I mute everything that I don't want to check daily, and then I have to look at everything else. My friend Daisy has so many unread emails, the bubble broke. It hurts my brain, so I don't look at her phone. Night is annoying though, because like the new quest, daily quest thing didn't go away with the bubble, even when I'd looked at everything. So I just uninstalled it. Not that I was playing Fortnite anyway for Fortnite, but I still didn't like the bubbles. I mean, I have like 5,000 messages in my inbox, but I've marked them all as read. And I do a remind me or a flag when I'm supposed to be looking at stuff. It doesn't always work, and I do forget things, but generally, if you want something from me, you don't email it to me. Yeah, I was sorting them into folders, but then I got bored of that. I did move about 2,000 emails into folders, but anyway. Sue, let me explain.
What's going on here?
Who's at the door, Matthew? Oh.
Soon the other incubi appeared in the lobby with us. The situation was not getting pretty. I had to think fast. Not they're my brothers. They're in your head. Well, they're my brothers is wrong. They know I don't have brothers. Their cousins would have made more sense. They're visitors, I think, is what we're going with. We're not going to say they're in your head because that would just be mean. That's gaslighting. Because this is true.
Then why did one of them open the door?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
It was no use. There was no time to lie for them. No time to lie to them. I felt helpless. Then I felt a hand on my shoulder and felt the tension in my body almost fade away. I turned my head to see James smile at me before stepping in front of me.
We must apologize, ladies. We know the situation must be confusing for everyone. Let's take this to the dining room and we'll explain everything.
I stared at James wide-eyed. Was he going to tell them who they were? It seemed surreal. Before I knew it, I was led to the dining room along with Suzu and Naomi and sat across from their confused gazers. As Naomi and Suzu sat down, Eric and Matthew placed their untouched plates of food in front of them, surprising their guests.
Whoa, this looks amazing!
Thank you!
Our pleasure, ladies. We hope you enjoy your meals.
Make sure you dig in!
I looked at Naomi and Suzu as they began to eat, visibly enjoying every bite they placed in their mouth. Hopefully the food would ease their minds for whatever James wanted to reveal. As Naomi and Suzu ate their impromptu meals, James and the other boys stood behind my chair, making me grow more red in the face.
So, Anderson, are you gonna tell us what's going on?
Well, you see, Gently, James placed a hand on my shoulder again, signaling me to just eat my food. As I began to eat, he spoke to Naomi
We are
and
Miss
Susan.
Anderson's house servants. We were hired by her late grandfather to help around the mansion, but since he has passed, we now assist Miss Anderson with living on her own.
That makes sense. It's such a huge house.
A huge house for a wonderful princess such as Miss Anderson deserves the greatest of servants to care for it.
But why are you all dressed so casually and stuff? Aren't servants supposed to have uniforms or whatever?
Well, Miss Anderson allows us to get comfy while we work, so she lets us wear casual clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that.
We're sorry if we made the situation awkward earlier.
We're very sure that Miss Anderson is also still getting used to having us as her servants. It would be very hard to explain after just a day.
I guess.
So, if I may ask, what brings you two ladies here?
Well, we wanted to see how our friend was doing. Since it's the weekend and all, usually we hang out and just chill.
Yeah, like going to the arcade and stuff.
Or the Pink Lady Cafe.
There's an arcade?
That makes a lot of sense, ladies. Well, we don't wish to disturb you any further than we have, so we'll take our leave and start preparing the house.
Huh? Preparing for what?
We gotta prep the house for some sort of housewarming party thing.
Our princess's parents requested a housewarming party to be held here soon.
And by soon, they mean tonight.
Well, I guess we can help out or something. Right, Naomi?
I thought you wanted to go to the arcade.
This housewarming thing is more important.
No need. We can handle it. If you'd like to, miss, you can go out with your friends while we handle things here.
Seriously?
Sam, not now.
Well, I wanted to help out, but at the same time I wanted to go out with my friends. James gave me an understanding look, letting me know that if I left, everything would be okay. I had to make a decision. I'm gonna go out. They owe me a housewarming.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. I trust these guys to be able to work everything out.
Thank you for trusting us, miss.
Stop calling
We'll
me
have
miss.
everything done for you by the time you return home.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, we'll wait here while you go get your things.
Plus it'll piss Sam off. I was strangely relieved to know that everything was going to be okay while I was gone from the house. I trusted the guys enough to do everything they could for this house party, so my mind focused itself on hanging out with my friends. How could you trust people you literally just met, like, less than 12 hours ago? This story makes no sense, but Eric has a really nice voice, so that part's okay as long as he keeps talking. Eventually, I was out the door, walking towards Naomi's car with Naomi and Suzu. Suzu grabbed the entire back seat as I took the passenger side. Naomi started the car and drove off towards the city. It's nice driving out with my friends. After all that had happened, it was good to just go out and forget my troubles.
Well, since we got you out of the house, we might as well go to the mall and walk around a bit. We did just eat breakfast after all.
Yeah, that was a good meal, though.
Could have had more flavor, in my opinion.
Suzu, you eat chili peppers when you're bored. Everything you eat always needs more flavor.
I'm just going to need to teach me.
You just need to eat spicy food all the time. You gotta tame your mouth.
Sounds a terrible idea.
Tame your mouth? Really, Suzu?
I can't do that. Sounds difficult.
Anyways, after the mall, what do you want to do? We could go to the Pink Lady Cafe and chill out with Kay. I'm sure she'd love the company.
But we have to stop by the arcade. They have this new game out called Orion. You get to control this guy named Isaku, and you're part of the rebel forces, and you get to shoot things, and there's robots, and...
Sheesh, we get it, Suzu, we get it. We'll go to the arcade.
Which one first, though? You know how popular Kay is. She'll be swamped with customers late in the day.
I'd rather go in the late afternoon. She has better options during the last hour of the cafe.
So basically after the arcade?
You figured me out so quickly, Patterson.
What did I tell you about using my last name?
Let's go to the arcade then. So we headed to the mall and walked around for a good amount of time before driving out to Moonfall Arcade. As weird as the name sounds, the arcade was one of the best arcades in the city. Kids and teenagers lined the games, watching the players at the consoles as they anxiously waited to have their turn.
There it is!
Susie grabbed Naomi and me by the hands before dragging us to a section of the arcade where a bunch of kids had gathered in awe and excitement. In the middle of the crowd was a large game with 2 joystick platforms and a screen that flashed the name Orion every other second. In the background of the screen, a holographic playfield glimmered before us, revealing a neo-futuristic battlefield and an enemy robot charging
This is the game?
right at the camera.
This is the game you were excited about?
It looks really cool.
That's right! And I'm gonna play it so hard I'll beat the game in one shot!
Ha! Susie smirked and looked at me, hoping I would join her as I usually did for partner games. I looked at Naomi, who merely rolled her eyes, crossed her arms, and gave me the okay nod. I grinned before nodding to Susie, who cheered in joy.
Woohoo! Alright, let's do this!
It took us a good half hour before we were able to step up to the platforms. The point of the game was to beat the government and restore freedom to the general public. We played as rebels and a robot, and the game quickly became a smash and bash game versus multiple enemy robots. Playing with Susie was always an adventure. We both knew what our strengths and weaknesses were, so it was easy to collaborate with each other. It wasn't long before we got into the swing of the game and were beating enemies like crazy. By the time we got to the boss, we were unstoppable. It was so refreshing to beat the boss and put our 3-letter code names into the high score list.
That is how you game. We are unstoppable, Anderson.
Yeah. Susie gave me a large smile, which made me smile back. I was happy to be able to hang out and have fun with my friends like this. I felt free from worries or responsibilities. It was something I loved. Also, you're still a kid at school. We eventually lost track of the time and wound up staying longer than we expected, making us unable to stop at the cafe before going home to dress for the housewarming party. So we drove back. Naomi and Susie picked up clothes and other necessities from their houses before driving back to the mansion. Sorry about the cafe. The hour of the house party had arrived in my mind. I kept double and triple checking the essentials of the party, knowing my daddy invited his business partners and the executives of the Anderson company to show off. I stood in front of my mirror in my room, staring at my phone as a million thoughts ran through my mind. It was just a housewarming party, but at the same time it wasn't. It was my chance to show my dad that I was better than his expectations. It was really a chance for me to see my parents as a woman. Hang on. It was a chance for me to see my parents as a woman. I think as a woman, for me to see my parents. There we go. It was my test to see if I was really ready to live on my own. Well, not truly alone. I had the incubi to thank. But even so, I didn't have my dad guiding me or my mum helping me through. A knock on my door broke my thoughts, surprising me. Who is it?
Hey, are you okay in there? Your parents should be here soon, so you should hurry getting ready.
Well, I'm ready, but...
But what? I'm sure you look fine, Anderson. Just come on out.
Alright. As soon as I opened the door to the hall, I watched as Naomi and Zuzu's face turns from smiles to complete awestruck stares. What?
Dude, you look hot.
Yeah, you look amazing. Where did you get that dress?
I've had it for a while, I just never had the chance to wear it. I figured I might as well bring it out now. Whoa. Okay. I love how they're color-coded. Well, nearly all of them. We're just going to appreciate this a little bit. I stepped out my room and closed my bedroom door behind me. As I walked down the hall to the grand lobby, the incubi stood waiting for me at the bottom, dressed to the nines as proper servants. I mean, they just look like they're wearing, like, dicky bows, you know, suit and top, you know, top and tails, whatever it's called when you're all fancy and formal.
Whoa, they really know how to dress well, don't they?
Yeah. I was taken slightly aback at how great the boys looked in uniform. Each had the poise of a perfect gentleman, even Sam. I slowly began to climb down the steps, with Suzu and Naomi behind me. The boys watched as I descended the staircase one step at a time, like knights waiting for their princess. I felt my face slightly flushed, but I quickly shook my head to try and regain my thoughts. This is very like a plot of the book I had just read. As I reached the last step, James offered his hand out to me and walked me down that final step, smiling.
As beautiful as a princess, miss.
Thank you.
So, are you prepared for tonight?
Never. As ready as I'll ever be. Yes, I'm ready. To be honest, no. I'm going to go with confidence. I had to be confident in my skills. My dad expected a lot out of me already. If I faltered at this party, who knows what he would think of me. I had to reassure myself in every word that came out of my mouth that I was ready. The other boys smiled assuringly at me, which made me feel a little better about everything. I looked at my phone and marked the time. Almost right on cue, the doorbell rang. I gulped. I could practically feel my dad's aura from behind the door. Sam and Eric quickly rushed to the door and opened the double doors wide to reveal my parents, both dressed in their best. Hey, Mum. Hey, Dad.
Oh my, I didn't know your bequeathment came with servants.
It was probably overlooked. Besides, who would deny good service?
I was completely shocked. My parents didn't question the boys. They didn't ask for verification or anything. I looked at the boys and noticed Sam and Eric staring intently at my parents. Were they using their powers on them? They had to be. There was no way they'd be okay with this otherwise.
I guess the servants counted as belongings to the house.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. They don't see them as people. They're dressed in their servant uniform. They just assume. They're not going to verify anything. My mother quickly rushed to me and gave me a large hug. I hugged her back, inhaling her perfume. It had only been a couple of days, but living away from the ones who raised me was hard. My mother soon let me go and looked at my outfit.
Gorgeous. You look so lovely. David, look at your daughter and tell her I'm right.
I looked at my dad, who was looking around the lobby like an inspector. I stood my ground, waiting for him to look at me. When he did, he let a small smile grace his lips.
Your mother's right. You look like you're all grown up.
The world around me stopped as my heart pounded hard in my chest. Did my dad just compliment me? On his own accord? My mother was grinning ear to ear at his words. I was beyond speechless. Thank you, Daddy. However, his cold face quickly returned as he began to look around once again.
I assume that you're ready, then, to impress the rest of the guests, correct?
What do you mean?
The entire board from Anderson Toys is coming tonight. Even the vice chairman's son will be coming. All of them will be measuring your potential.
My potential?
To become CEO of the company.
What the flip? I knew it. Something was off about tonight. And now this party had become much more than I anticipated. I gulped silently, but I nodded in response. I looked to the incubi, but they were continuing to be servants to my father's approval. I looked behind me and saw Naomi and Suzu raise their thumbs at me for encouragement. I let out a small breath before feeling my body accept the situation. I felt a weight in my gut, but I had to hide it. As if time zoomed forward, all of a sudden the main hall of the lobby was full of guests. Men and women in formal or business attire showed up to meet me and see my new home. I didn't expect many to come, but I was once again surprised, that night. I shook hands with many officials and executive members, putting on the professional face my dad trained me to have. I felt overwhelmed, but I hid it well behind a small smile and a handshake. Many even asked me questions. I tried my best to reply as maturely as possible. I had to remember, say what they want to hear. Not what you want to say.
So, how do you feel living on your own at such a young age?
I feel fine. It's been pretty good. Could be better. It's difficult being independent. I'm doing my best. It's been okay. I'm just going to go pretty good.
I'm so sorry about your grandfather passing away.
Because it had a timer at the
Really
bottom.
hit all of us hard.
Thank you
Do
for your
you have
condolences.
college plans?
Yes, I do. I feel like the questions came at one after another. It was tough to answer some of them because they weren't about me. They're about the company.
What do you think will happen with the company now that your grandfather has passed?
Get back on track.
What do you think of the philanthropic policy the company has?
That's good.
Do you think the company should expand from just toys?
No. I'm just going to go with it's a possibility. Eventually the questions stopped and I was back to being by myself. Naomi and Susie were mingling in the crowds and the incubi were doing their jobs, so I was all alone in a room full of strangers. It was unnerving to think about, but at least I wasn't being questioned left and right anymore. Suddenly, though, my mum pushed her way through the crowd to me, bringing along someone I didn't know.
Honey, I'd like to introduce you to someone.
Oh,
This
set
kind
up.
gentleman is the son of the vice chairman.
With my mother stood a man who looked only a couple of years older than me. He smiled and held out his hand to me, silently asking for my hand.
I'm Andrew Lewis. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Anderson.
I'm going to go... Ooh. No, we're going to be polite and play the dutiful daughter. As I placed my hand in his, he raised it to his lips and kissed over my knuckles. I felt my face burn slightly at the gesture. Andrew smiled at me before releasing my hand.
I'm honored to be invited here.
My mother smiled at both of us, which made me slightly concerned. Why was she excited to introduce me to Andrew?
So, you organized this party very well, Miss Anderson. You're welcome. Praise is very much deserved.
Andrew then chuckled nervously, bringing a soft fist to his lips to cover his laugh properly before smiling.
Sorry if I seem a little forward. I've just been excited to meet Harold Anderson's granddaughter.
Huh? Why?
He used to talk about you all the time in the office on how you helped him refine his toys. I only attended meetings and heard all of the stories. You've helped a lot with the success of the company without having to actually work there.
Wow, I didn't know he talked about me. That would explain everyone's fascination with me and their rather personal questions. It's really sweet. I looked at Andrew, who had a kind face to me. Something about him seemed off, and I didn't know what it was. He seemed to be hiding something. Whether it was good or bad, I was not able to find out. It's Damien, because I'm sure he's read his mind. I think this is one of those situations where he's hoping that he can, like, marry me, her, and, like, get control of the company or something. And, like, you know, gut it for parts or whatever. There'll be some sort of horrific takeover situation. But hopefully we get to be in charge and we get to continue making the nice toys that Grandpa made. I don't know. I felt someone walk up beside me, causing me to turn to them. Next to me was my dad, giving his cold stare to Andrew, who suddenly became tense.
So, you're Jared's son.
Andrew's body twitched slightly. Whether it was fear or insult, Andrew locked eyes with my father. I couldn't help but feel the tension between them. It irked me how fragile the air had become, enough to break at the wrong word.
You're the one who wants to be the next CEO of the Anderson Company.
Well...
He stared at Andrew. This guy wanted to take my grandfather's place as CEO? I thought the vice chairman wanted the
David,
position.
leave the poor boy alone.
I'm merely testing the boy's conversational skills. Nothing wrong with that.
Of course not, sir.
And polite as well. Interesting.
If you'll excuse me.
Puppet. Quickly, Andrew retreated away from my family into the crowd of people. follow him, stay put. I want to hear what Dad has to say. I watched as he disappeared into the crowd towards the back of the house. I was worried, but I gave him his space. He obviously needed it.
Peh. He's not CEO material.
That's because you practically interrogated the young man.
And CEOs need to stand up to
Little
that.
questioning shouldn't have bothered him. He's obviously not ready for any title in our company.
Bit my tongue. I didn't want to make a scene with my dad. One wrong word and he'd lecture me in front of everyone. This was not something I wanted at my housewarming party. I lit out a sigh before looking at the clock. It was getting close to midnight, meaning that the party was going to end soon. I lowered my gaze out the window and saw a limo pull up. Whose limo is that?
Oh, that must be Lewis's car.
I'll go get him. Stay with your father so you can escort your guests out together.
Yes, Mum. My mother left my dad and me to slowly escort the guests out. My dad held a simple smile as he thanked each person for coming. I did the same. Andrew quickly passed the doors before I could speak. Eventually, only Suzu, Naomi, my parents, and the incubi were left. My dad suddenly walked over and placed a hand on my shoulder with a smile. I stared up at him, a wave of confusion washing over my face.
You did good tonight. I'm proud.
Oh, thank you, Dad.
Keep it up, and you'll be a good CEO.
Oh, right.
All right. Your mother and I have to leave. I'm sure Naomi and Suzu need to leave as well. Just because it's Saturday doesn't mean you should stay up all night.
Don't be a party pooper.
Thanks for having us. It was a great party.
We'll come visit tomorrow or something. All right?
Right. See ya.
Good night, sweetie. Come visit us soon.
Will do. All four of my remaining guests left the building, all but my dad waving back to me. With the last of my guests gone, I sighed and sat on the staircase exhausted. That was tiring.
It's not like you had to do any work, though.
Give her a break, man. She was getting interrogated left and right.
She handled herself the best she could.
As expected, princess.
Since you're exhausted, why not head to bed? We can clean up.
Ugh.
Hush, Sam.
You guys sure?
Positive. It shouldn't take long.
Ho ho ho! It didn't take long to find you little shits after all.
The hot shudder ran down my spine. The voice from my dreams echoed through the air into my ears. I looked around, panicked alongside the incubi. James placed a hand on my shoulder, trying to remain calm.
No one will hurt you.
Are you sure? Are you really sure?
All of us shot our heads towards the doors, finally putting down the direction of the voice. The doors quickly swung open, revealing a sight I would never have expected to see. Skin red as blood, eyes black and gold piercing into mine, roughened up clothes, and a pistol in his hands. I saw a monster. I covered my mouth not to scream at the sight. Dry blood covered the bandana around his neck, and he smirked at me and the boys around me. Besides the red-skinned man was a similar-looking woman in matching thug-like
What's
clothes.
the matter, boys? You really didn't think I wouldn't find you, did you?
I hoped you would, you piece of...
All of a sudden, the man raised his gun at Sam's face and instantly pulled the trigger. We all gasped in shock, instinctively expecting to see a bullet run through Sam's face, but...
What the fuck?
What? What should have been a headshot ended with a loud but empty blank shot. The pistol echoed its empty shots as the man grew more and more pissed, pulling the trigger over and over in aggravation. Luckily for my ears, it became quieter after its first shot.
Why the fuck won't you work?
This place is protected.
What did you say, Shrimp?
This place has a seal, protecting it from hellborn magic.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Grandpa!
Ah!
The man growled and threw his gun at Sam, who was able to dodge it in time. The pistol bounced off the ground a couple of times before sliding further away, hitting the wall in a final stop. As it stopped moving, the gun faded into black flame that disappeared into the air.
The previous owner had this place protected by magic, Malix.
Grandpa, you had secrets! Malix, that was his name. His existence resonated in my memory from the dream I had. However, I looked at Matthew in the same confusion as Malix did. This place is protected by magic?
It would seem that your grandfather had some sort of protective barrier around this house. From the looks of it, it only disables hellborn magic.
Malix's face grew to that of extreme anger, his fist tightening as if he was crushing a stress ball.
What's stopping me from dragging your asses out and shooting you then?
Out of pure instinct, I stepped forward and placed myself between Malik and the boys. With no power, Malik wasn't going to fight. I took that chance to stand up to him instead of being powerless like it was in the dream. Get out of my house. I think we'll go with that. I think that has more pizzazz. Malik's growled at me, walking it right to me and leaning close to my face. I glared back, feeling my courage skyrocket.
Since when does a little stain like you give orders to a guy who can rip your pretty little head from your body?
I really don't think do you? If you kill me, you'll be hunted down by more than just the police.
Little.
Duck. I ducked underneath Malik's incoming hand. I stared at his hand and his black flame tattoo in surprise as I took a couple of steps back from Malik's. Matthew and Damien stepped in front of me, guarding him from Malik's with their arms.
A quick one.
I'm like go with Duck. Duck makes more sense.
Back off, Malix!
Don't start acting tough, you pathetic excuse of a demon. You need more protection than her.
Shut up!
Oh, did I make the little Matthew cry? Why don't you just grow a pair?
Enough, Malix.
The woman, who'd been standing in silence the whole time, planted a firm hand on Malix's shoulder. Malix looked back at her with a growl and a glare that could kill.
Since when did you get the guts to speak out of place?
We both know you've never controlled me. I want them dead just like you do. But now's not the time.
Is that Loretta or whatever?
I know what I'm doing.
She actually
do you? Even if you did fight them, there's 5 against 2. We never win.
Shut up!
Let's go, Malix! We're wasting our time!
The two growled at each other. If they could have used their magic, I could sense that fire would glow from underneath their teeth. Malix grunted and glared at the boys. He pointed at James, wanting so badly to use his fingers like a knife.
Just wait, pretty boys. We'll get you and fuck you up real good.
Then Malix turned to me, moving his finger to point directly between my eyes.
And don't think you're safe. Step
Are
outside.
we supposed to go to school?
I dare you.
And we have friends and family. With that, Malix and the woman walked out the mansion. The doors closed behind them, leaving the boys and I alone once again. I felt my knees give out from under me, forcing the boys to quickly turn to catch me.
Whoa, whoa! Are you alright?
Yeah, why was he here?
Mostly tracking us. Our blood trail from the forest must have led him here.
We should have stopped him and finished it here.
For once, Matthew, I agree with you.
I stood up and rubbed my arms, feeling the goosebumps Malix left behind on me. I couldn't stop myself from shivering in fear of his words. Malix, was he a demon?
That son of a bitch is not a demon. He's a devil.
A devil is a difference.
Yes, demons come from a different plane of existence called the Abyssal Planes. Devils, however, come from one of the 7 circles of a place humans know as hell. Despite us not being human, we are very different creatures.
We actually have brains, for one. Devils always like to cause trouble and try to kill or torture others for their own enjoyment. Demons, like us, know when to use our powers and when not to. We're not stupid.
Devils follow orders from higher-ups in their order, and their power only comes from their connection to hell. Demons all have free wills and don't rely on where they came from to use their powers.
It's all so confusing. Demons and devils and magic all existed, and I happened to land in the middle of it. What do we do?
You're safe. You've been protected as well.
What?
What Damien's saying is that the magic that protects this place also protects you.
Your grandfather must have cast it when you last saw him or something of that nature. We can sense its aura around your body.
I couldn't believe my ears. It was the 3rd day of surprises, and this one took the cake in being the most surprising. I felt my head spin once again. What did I get myself
please
into?
don't worry. We'll find a way to train ourselves and become stronger to finally finish this feud.
I'm gonna kick his ass right now.
Until then, we'll protect you as much as we can. If Malix comes back, we'll be here for you.
I'm going outside, won't
Like
he?
we said, you have a protection spell on you. Even if Malix attacks you, he won't be able to use his magic on you. He'd be just like any other human you can fight back against.
Yeah, but you get
Didn't
human
you say you
weapons.
knew Taekwondo?
Oh, yeah. I felt somewhat relieved that I was mostly safe from Malix. Still, I couldn't help but feel very nervous and apprehensive about the future. The boys were safe here to train and become stronger, but what if Malik said the same? Even more so, I was lost about how my grandfather knew about magic. I had to find out. At least I had time. I went to bed that night feeling nervous. Despite the words of the incubi, I felt like a target to something I'd never be able to explain or prove. Magic? Devils? Demons? How did this all even happen? Should I really meddle with the situation? They are only staying until after they defeat Malix. That's right. They said they'd only stay until after they defeated Malix. After that, my life could go back to normal. Temporary insanity, as Kay would say. Question was, then would I want them to leave? If my life went back to normal, then I'd have to care for the household on my own. I'd get to focus on my life instead of being distracted by the boys. I'd have to... My life. Where was my life going anyway? I was under pressure from my parents with only my friends and the boys to comfort me. Without the boys, I'd have no way to hide from my responsibilities. Enough. Let's just sleep and deal with tomorrow when it comes. Defeating my sense of thought, I forced myself to sleep, unsure of what tomorrow had planned for me. Hopefully, whatever the future had for me, I'd be ready for it.
I promise to be with you forever.
I think that's a perfect place to stop. Right. Save. Okay. So, that was Seduce Me! The complete story. We were playing the first game in the collection, which is Seduce Me Otome. Oh, the Otome. Which I did look up and I've forgotten what an Otome is. Let me just Google it again. Oh, no. I'm in my email. Hang on. Oh yes, a maiden game. A story-based romance video game targeted towards women with only a female protagonist as the player. Most Otome games do not have a designated main love interest, as the male leads are often treated with the same level of importance. One feature that has become common in Otome games is full voice, which is awesome. We create a love interest with... we create a mutual relationship with one of our male love interests through our choices. The first Otome game is generally acknowledged to be Angelique, released in 1994 by Koei in Japan for the Super Famicom. Go! Right, well, a little bit of game history there. So yeah, that was fun. If you want to find out what happens next, which guy we're gonna be seduced by or seduce, how on earth our grandpa knows about magic, then you're just gonna have to buy the game for yourself. It's on Xbox. It's $9.99 in all the three currencies that I've dealt with: euros, pounds, and dollars. Why does my lighting seem different today? I don't want pink. But yeah, came out last year, and I actually really enjoyed that. That was a nice diversion, fully voiced as well. So I will continue that off stream, and there will be more streams. That's about as much as I can guarantee at this point. I think we're supposed to be doing co-stream this week, probably tomorrow. As always, I've not talked to Jessie about it because, well, I haven't had much brain for the last few days. The plan is to have regular streams this week. It is supposed to get really hot, like, end of the weekend into Monday, so I'm not looking forward to that. But if I do one of my freelance days on Monday, for some reason working helps with the heat, combat the heat, brain fog. But anyway, that was fun. Seduce Me, the complete story. Thanks to Ideal Xbox, as always, providing me with codes for streaming purposes. I do have some publisher provided codes that I've not redeemed yet because I don't want to redeem them until I'm ready to commit to a stream. I think all of them are for games that are not yet out, though maybe out. Ow. by the time I stream them. But we're going to try and get some of those done this week. I just couldn't decide which to do today, so I just picked one off my random to-do list. And then we got one achievement which didn't qualify. So we need to get further in the game if we are going to get an RTDL1 with that. But anyway, I'm going to go to bed because I'm going to be up for a call tomorrow. Anyway, thanks to Mr. Corners for the resub. Thank you to everyone for being here. It's been good to see you. Hopefully you enjoyed the game. But people stayed, so I'm assuming that they did, and I appreciate that. So yeah, I've been Joe, otherwise known as Angel SK, and I'll catch you at the next stream. Bye.